Chapter 191 Burning the Withered Tree Demon Lord. Quest completed. My good lord. 50 yellow gold tier mist cores? Zhou clicked his tongue. After this period of development, Zhou roughly understood why some fog monsters dropped different amounts of mist cores. The reason was simple. Their strengths were different. Among monsters of the same level, the stronger the fog monster, the more mist cores would be condensed in its body. The withered demon tree lord in front of him could actually condense 50 yellow gold tier mist cores. It could be said to be the #1 fog monster Zhou had ever seen. From this, it could be seen how strong the other party was. It's a pity you ran into us. Zhou shook his head. This withered demon tree lord was strong. However, his pet was the lava dragon of the dragon race. No matter how strong the lord of the withered demon tree was, in the face of the suppression of race and bloodline, coupled with the fact that fire countered wood, it had no chance of winning at all. Unless the wood-type enemy underwent a qualitative change, how could it defeat the fire-type Nazario? Nazario, take care of it. Be careful to leave their corpses behind. Don't burn them all. Leave a few withered trees. I want to nurture them with the monster ranches. Zhou said. While he did not know what their drops were for, it was rare to encounter a fog monster that could drop different types of loots. Zhou had a premonition that their loots should be worth raising in the monster ranch. Nazario nodded slightly and spread his dragon wings to fly into the sky. It flew into the sky and looked down at the sea of trees created by the lord of the withered demon tree. Then it suddenly had an idea. Lava dragon race talent skill. All things burn. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Fire emerged on the bodies of all the withered trees where its dragon eyes were looking. They were originally connected to each other. Now that they were burning, they were on fire spread from the other withered trees before they could even pull the roots out of the ground. 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1000. Over the years, the withered tree demon lord had created more than 10,000 withered tree subjects. In the blink of an eye, they all fell into a sea of flames. Seeing this, the lord of the withered demon tree, Wuli, immediately controlled himself and the other withered trees to dig out some spherical fruits that were crystal clear like golden jade from the soil at the roots. Then, he decisively smashed them into the sea of fire. The fruit thrown into the sea of fire immediately emitted a pale golden light. The burning of the sea of fire suddenly weakened. But soon, it counterattacked with an even stronger fire. Nazario sneezed disdainfully. Even though it did not know what the fruit was, it could sense that the fruit contained a strong vitality. That vitality could save trees and extinguish some ordinary flames and low-level energy flames. However, how could the flames summoned be comparable to ordinary and low-level energy flames as a lava dragon? Even if it was the enemy's life force, it could be used as the fire fuel for all things burn. On the other side, the lord of the withered demon tree could not help but panic when it saw that its methods were useless. Why was this different from what it had imagined? It never expected that originally. It had tied all the subjects together to create an iron bucket formation that enemies could not enter so that it could protect its main body. Now, this life-saving method has become the cause of its death. Creak, crackle. The screams of the withered tree and the sound of the tree burning and breaking continuously sounded. At the same time, in the distance, kill notifications kept appearing in front of Zhou. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed a black iron tier advanced grade withered tree. Promotion energy plus 80. Loots condensed. Blessing of the war god. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 320 promotion energy points. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed a white silver tier intermediate grade elite withered tree. Promotion energy plus 400. Loots condensed. Blessing of the war god. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 1,600 promotion energy. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed a yellow gold tier intermediate withered tree boss. Promotion energy plus 4,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 16,000 promotion energy. A moment later, your pet Lava Dragon. Nazario has killed a yellow gold tier advanced grade withered tree demon lord. Wooly promotion energy plus 8,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 32,000 promotion energy. Prompt. Mission. Hope and Counterattack. White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade has been completed. 10 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores have been distributed. 136 subjects of Deadwood Village have pledged their loyalty to you. All loyalty has reached 95 points. Behind the battlefield. Zhou nodded in satisfaction when he saw the notification that the mission had been completed. How long has it been? Beside him. Bai Yun, who had been stunned for a long time, came back to her senses and muttered to herself. About 4 to 5 minutes. Wuxia was also a little speechless. There were more than 10,000 withered trees. They were all killed in 5 to 6 minutes. Who would believe this? Then, the two of them did not say anything else. They led the soldiers to clean up the battlefield and used the Conqueror's blast furnaces to retrieve the loots. After Nazario took away the heat from all the monster corpses, it brought the corpse of the withered tree demon lord to Zhou. Then, it transmitted a feeling of refreshed and enjoyment to Zhou. Zhou immediately understood what it meant. It was refreshed because this was the first time Nazario had eliminated so many fog monsters in such a short period of time. Nazario was happy because after destroying so many fog monsters alone, it realized that it was not far from the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Zhou smiled and nodded. He also promised the other party that he would give it more chances to enjoy the monster EXP alone in the future. High-end combat power was becoming more and more important in the Lord battlefield now. It was time to focus on nurturing Nazario. Then, he tried to touch the charred body of the withered tree demon lord. After confirming that it was not hot, he no longer hesitated and chose to extract it. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots. 50 Mist Cores. White Platinum Tier. 5 Origin Crystals. 1,000 kilograms of Jade Sun Tree Seeds. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Tree Core Gem. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Plant Vitality Potion. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Vitality Absorption Skill Book. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Plant Domain. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 1 Alchemy Pharmacist Recruitment Book. White Platinum Tier. Advanced Grade. 9 Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. Green Bronze Tier. Advanced Grade. Chapter 192. Jade Sun Tree Seed. Tree Core Gem. Zhou began to inspect the loots. Zhou looked at the items other than the White Platinum Tier Mist Cores, Origin Crystals, and Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. The first was the Jade Sun Tree Seed. Specialty Name: Jade Sun Tree Seed. Specialty Level: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Specialty Effect 1. It can produce a fruit rich in life element called the Jade Sun Fruit. It can be eaten directly to replenish one's vitality, restore injuries caused by White Platinum Tier and below. It can also be used to make White Platinum Tier potions related to life. Specialty Effect 2. The Jade Sun Tree is one of the exclusive specialties of the desert area. It can act as windbreaker and also sand fixation, improve, or even reverse the desert soil and environment. At the same time, the Jade Sun Fruit it produces has a higher economic value. Specialty Description: a special fruit tree in the desert, the true form of the withered tree. It can absorb the sunlight and convert it into life elements to condense fruits rich in life elements. It can also improve or even reverse the ecological environment of the desert. Specialty: when Zhou saw it, he vaguely felt that it looked familiar.
Soon,
he remembered. When he was diving in the World Channel in the past, he had heard some lords say that his Lord Talent was a specialty-related Lord Talent. This specialty talent included a series of specialties such as food, mineral, biological, and so on. There were also high and low grades. Higher grade ones such as Extraordinary Tier Lord Talent, Supernatural Power Crystal Mine. When mining ores in the territory, there was a chance to mine Esper ability crystals. Life forms that used the Esper ability crystals had a chance to awaken Esper abilities of extraordinary tier and below. Lower grade ones could be Black Iron tier Lord Talent, Black Cherry. It was a very sweet fruit specialty. Other than being delicious, it had no other abilities. These specialties all had an obvious characteristic. That was the uniqueness of resources. If the resource was only found in this place or a few places, it would be called a specialty. Specialties can actually drop from monsters? How is this different from picking up a Lord Talent for free? Zhou was pleasantly surprised. In his opinion, if he could completely develop this Jade Sun Fruit's potential, it should not be inferior to a yellow gold tier Lord Talent. Zhou was confident that he could fully develop its potential because he had the Monster Ranch. As long as he placed the withered tree in the Monster Ranch to nurture it, then a large number of Jade Sun Tree seeds would be produced in his territory every day. At that time, he could completely nurture them in large quantities. Moreover, since it could survive in the desert, it would definitely be very easy to survive. He did not have to worry about it dying. In addition, its windbreaker and sand fixation effect was also very useful to Blazing Sun City. As long as he nurtured a large number of these Jade Sun fruits near the Blazing Sun Desert, or he could nurture it in Linger's Divine Herb Garden and transplant it to the Blazing Sun Desert. One day in the future, the Blazing Sun Desert might become an oasis. Then, Zhou checked the number of seeds of the 1,000 kilograms Jade Sun tree. He realized that there were about 40 to 50 in every kilogram of tree seeds. 1,000 kilograms meant 40,000 to 50,000 white platinum tier advanced grade Jade Sun tree seeds. Zhou was quite satisfied. The production was also high. It seemed that it was not a dream to turn the Blazing Sun Desert into an oasis in the future. Then he looked at the tree core gem. Treasure name, tree core gem. Treasure grade, white platinum tier advanced grade. Treasure effect, after embedding in white platinum tier and below equipment, the level requirement for the equipment is -1. Treasure description, an extremely rare treasure that can lower the level requirement of equipment. It is sought after by countless powerhouses. Prompt, each piece of equipment can be embedded with up to 3 gems that reduce the level requirement. Zhou's eyes widened. There was only one thought left in his mind. This withered tree race was really full of treasures. This tree core gem was the treasure he needed the most. He often obtained some high-level equipment as he often conquered high-level Scarlet Lords. These equipment were too high-level for him to use. In the end, they could only be placed in his spatial ring or the territory warehouse. He could use it after his level reached the usage requirement. Now that he had this tree core gem, he could lower the usage requirements of high-level equipment and use them himself. Moreover, after he placed the withered tree in the Monster Ranch, this tree core gem could also become a product of his Monster Ranch. This way, his territory could obtain a large number of tree core gems every day. This way, not only could he use high-level equipment that lowered the usage requirements in the future, by Yun Wu Xian, the soldiers and even the subjects could use them all. This would greatly increase the strength of his territory. The more Zhou thought about it, the brighter his eyes became. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this withered tree was an excellent protection plant. Then he looked at the next loots. Potion name, Plant Vitality Potion, Potion grade, White Platinum tier advanced grade, Potion effect 1. Restoration of some vitality to plants below the White Platinum tier. Potion effect 2. Replenish the vitality of the plants and reduce the growth time of White Platinum tier plants by 10%. Reduce the growth time of Yellow Gold tier plants by 20%. Reduce the growth time of White Silver tier plants by 30%. Reduce the growth time of Green Bronze tier plants by 40%. Reduce the growth time of Black Iron tier plants by 50%. Potion description, a magical potion that can accelerate the growth of plants. Zhou raised his eyebrows. The effect of this potion was similar to that of the Divine Herb Garden. I can let Linger use it. This way, her Divine Herb Garden's efficiency in nurturing medicinal herbs can increase again. he thought. Then, he looked at the remaining 2 skill books. Skill name, Vitality Absorption, Skill Quality, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, Skill Description. Absorb the vitality contained in the ground and transform it into your own vitality. It can restore your injuries below the White Platinum Tier. Skill name, Plant Domain, Skill Quality, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, Skill Description. Spread your mental strength into the surrounding plants. You can silently control plants below the White Platinum Tier and White Platinum Tier, making them your ears. You can even give plants life to activate them and let them fight for you. This plant domain and vitality absorption can be used together. Zhou took a look and immediately thought of how to use the 2. Unfortunately, these 2 skills were too high level for him to learn. If only there were treasures that lower the requirements for learning skills. Zhou could not help but think. He felt that there might be such a treasure on the high continent. Since there were already treasures like the tree core gem that lowered the usage requirements of equipment, it would not be strange for treasures to appear that reduced the level for learning skills. As for the last White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Alchemy Pharmacist recruitment book, he could only use it when he returned to the back territory. My lord, we found the lord's residence of the Lord of the Withered Demon Tree. Baiyan walked over and said respectfully, "Take me there." Zhou put away the loots. "Yes, my lord." Baiyan nodded respectfully. Then, she brought Zhou to the lord's residence. Beside a cave, Zhou and Bai Yi stood there. At first, we didn't find the lord's residence on the ground. Later, we used the sand trap technique a few times under the roots of the withered demon tree lord before we found the lord's residence hidden underground. We've already cleaned up the mud in the residence. My lord, we can go down without worry now. Baiyan said respectfully. Zhou nodded and looked deeper into the cave. He did see a cleaned lord's residence more than 10 meters deep. Then, the 2 of them did not waste any more time and jumped down, arriving at the entrance of the lord's residence. The 2 of them entered. Zhou saw that it was already lit up by torches. In the center of the mansion was the territory stone tablet. "Break it," Zhou said. "Yes." Baiyan nodded and began to use the flame arrow to shoot at the stone tablet. Now that she was already a white silver tier advanced grade, she only used less than 6 arrows to shatter this territory stone tablet. 2 tokens appeared from the territory tablet. One of the tokens emitted a dense silver-white luster. It was a white silver tier intermediate grade territory token. On the other token was the word region written on the front, and the words Withered Forest Plains were engraved on the back. It was the white silver tier regional token of the Withered Forest Plains. A text notification appeared. You have conquered a white silver tier Scarlet Lord's territory and obtained 25 battlefield points and 4 ranking tries. Your subject has conquered a white silver tier regional territory, Withered Forest Plains, and obtained 8 ranking tries. Zhou glanced at the notification, then walked over and picked up the regional token. Treasure name, regional token, region name, Withered Forest Plains, changeable, regional grade, white silver tier, area, about 2,985 square kilometers, treasure description, the region token of the Withered Forest Plains. A lord who possesses the region token and integrates it into the territory stone tablet can become the region lord of the Withered Forest Plains and obtain an exclusive region treasure chest. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then he put away the 2 tokens. After confirming that there was nothing else to take away, they left and returned to the surface. Half an hour later, all the loot of the withered tree had been extracted. All the remains of the withered tree were extracted as loots. Under the enhancement of the perfect loots, in total, 46,018 green bronze tier mist cores, 22,078 white silver tier mist cores, 9,968 yellow gold tier mist cores, and 315 white platinum tier mist cores. 699,299 kilograms of jade sun tree seeds. Green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier, white platinum tier, 6,574 green bronze tier tree cores. 3,154 white silver tier tree cores, 1,424 yellow gold tier tree cores, 45 white platinum tier tree cores, 11,197 bottles of plant vitality potion, green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier, white platinum tier. Other than that, after Bai Yun and the others cleaned up the battlefield, they found about 6.9 million units of basic materials, 12 white platinum tier mist cores, 46 yellow gold tier mist cores, 656 white silver tier mist cores, 3,121 green bronze tier mist cores, 34,541 black iron tier mist cores, and 214 normal building blueprints. After confirming that they did not miss any loots, Zhou led the soldiers towards Deadwood Village. Chapter 193 Deadwood Village's Villager Professions. When Zhou and the others returned to Deadwood Village, they suddenly realized something. All the withered trees on the withered forest plains had actually turned into powder and scattered on the ground. At the same time, Zhou no longer felt the feeling of being monitored from the depths of the ground. It seems that with the death of the withered tree demon lord, the withered trees and trees hidden deep underground under its control should be dead too. That's why I don't feel like I'm being watched anymore. Zhou nodded slightly. This was naturally the best. Otherwise, he would have to send people to clean up these withered trees and the tree seeds underground in order to avoid future trouble. A moment later. Deadwood Village. When Zhou returned with the soldiers, he realized that the villagers of Deadwood Village were collectively guarding the entrance of the village and waiting for him. He winced. Then, he thought for a moment and called over a soldier. He gave him something and asked him to do as he said. The soldier quickly received the order and left. Seeing this, Zhou continued to lead the Blazing Sun army forward. Their arrival was quickly noticed by the villagers of Deadwood Village. Excitement appeared on their faces as they took the initiative to run over. Even the old village chief, Zhu Li, walked over with the help of the young villagers beside him. Big brother, did you destroy that withered demon tree lord? My lord, we just realized that all the withered tree demons have collapsed into powder. Did you do this? Is that withered demon tree lord already dead? My lord, you must have succeeded in conquering the lord of the withered demon tree this time, right? The villagers had just surrounded him when they asked excitedly and enthusiastically. At the request of the village chief, Zhu Li, they had all joined Zhou and become his official subjects. The reason was naturally because Zhu Li had already deduced from the phenomenon of the withered trees turning into powder that their nightmare, the lord of the withered demon tree, had most likely been destroyed by the lord they had previously entertained, even though Zhu Li himself was also in disbelief. However, since the lord of the Blazing Sun had already done it, they naturally became Zhou's subjects without hesitation. However, even though these villagers had the same guess, at this moment, they still wanted to personally obtain verification from this lord. Zhou saw the villagers surrounding them, including Zhuang. The soldiers standing beside him to protect him wanted to separate the villagers, but Zhou stopped them with a smile. The loyalty of these Deadwood Village villagers had already reached more than 95 points. He would nurture them well. All of them were loyal people who could entrust heavy responsibilities. There was even a high chance of nurturing them into dead loyal subjects. Zhou was naturally willing to be close to them. After hearing their words, Zhou smiled and nodded. He looked at all the villagers and the village chief, Zhu Li, who was slowly walking over from afar and nodded slowly. Don't worry, everyone. The lord of the withered demon tree has been destroyed by our army. From now on, this withered forest plains will never become your cage again. Everyone, you can walk out of the territory and take a look at the outside at any time. If you're still worried, you can leave with us when my army and I leave later. If you want to settle in my territory, I will also arrange your work and residence for free. Whether you stay or go is up to you. As soon as he finished speaking, these Deadwood Village villagers could not help but tear up. Cries of joyful tears sounded from the villagers. Freedom. This was such a distant word to Deadwood Village. It was also a word that haunted their dreams. It had finally become a reality. When Bai Yun, Wuxia, and the other soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army saw this scene, smiles appeared on their faces. At the same time, they subconsciously straightened their backs, feeling even more honored for their status as soldiers, and they felt more recognition for their lord. Zhou was looking at the notifications that the loyalty of his subjects had increased. These notifications were from the soldiers and these Deadwood Village villagers. He looked thoughtful. It seemed that he could do more such things in the future. Firstly, it could increase their loyalty. Secondly, it could also allow Peace and Prosperity's Diamond Tier Lord talent to become Extraordinary Tier Lord talent, Peaceful Times. Peace and Prosperity was already so strong. He no longer had to worry about traitors appearing among his subjects. Then how strong would the upgraded Peaceful Times be? Thank you, my lord, for saving all the villagers of our Deadwood village. We will definitely not be disloyal to the Lord in the future. This oath can be witnessed by the supreme will. At this moment, Zhu Li had also walked over. He said solemnly and was about to kneel down shakily. Seeing this, Zhou immediately jumped down from the Mechanostrider and helped him up. Village chief, you don't have to do this. This is what we agreed on. You have to take care of yourself, he said. Zhu Li smiled and nodded. My lord, let's talk in the village, he said respectfully. Zhou acknowledged. Then he got the soldiers to station at the entrance of the village. Then he entered Deadwood Village with Baiyu, Wuxia, and the others. In the lobby, Zhou chatted with Zhu Li for a while before revealing his thoughts. Is Village Chief Zhu Li willing to bring the villagers to Blazing Sun City? Don't worry about anything else. I'll take care of everything, Zhou said. Such a large group of loyal subjects. He naturally wanted to nurture them with him. I'll listen to your orders, my lord, Zhu Li said without hesitation. Even though they had lived in the withered forest plains for 11 years, they naturally had no attachment to this place after being tortured here. They would be happier if they could leave immediately. Instead, they were even happier. Then do it as soon as possible. Return to Blazing Sun City today. My army brought many Mechanostriders. With these means of transportation, it won't be a problem to return to Blazing Sun City before dark, Zhou said. Okay. I'll arrange it now. Zhu Li nodded. Then, he asked the young man beside him to tell the villagers to pack their luggage. After Zhu Li arranged this matter, Zhou had nothing to do, so he started chatting with the old man again. During the conversation, he also knew the exact abilities of the 136 people in Deadwood Village. Because of their experience, among the 136 subjects of Deadwood Village, there were a total of 86 farmers, 6 carpenters, 3 blacksmiths, 5 doctors, and 3 martial artists. Other than that, the rest were professional villagers. These professionals were not created by any class change tool. Instead, in order to survive here, the professionals had spent a few years creating these professions from nothing. This was also the normal way of birth of professionals on the high continent. The same goes for both lifestyle professionals and military professionals. After all, the drop rate of monsters was extremely low. Zhou could be said to be one of the few lords in the high continent who used the class change tool dropped by monsters to create professionals. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was unconventional. Zhou was naturally satisfied. There were very few farmers in his territory. And farmers were definitely one of the core basic lifestyle professionals in a territory. The farmers of Deadwood Village could increase the number of farmers in his territory. Even though his territory was a desert territory and he could not grow rice and other crops for the time being, however, the Jade Sun Tree seed he had just obtained could be handed over to these farmers to be used to plant. This was because the Jade Sun Tree was a fruit tree. Among these farmers, there was no lack of fruit and vegetable farmers who specialized in growing fruit trees and vegetables. Let them nurture it. They were just the right professions. At this moment, a small head appeared at the entrance of the hall. It was Zhuang. Chapter 194 Dead Loyal Subjects. Preparing to use the talent sphere if audio player doesn't work, Press stop then play button again. 194 dead loyal subjects. Preparing to use the talent sphere, Grandpa. My lord. Zhuang chuckled. Come in. Zhou smiled. Come in. Zuli was also a little helpless. The adults were discussing important things. Why did the child come over to interfere?
Zhou did not care.
He liked this filial child. Zhuang stuck out his tongue and did not dare to lean over, seeing that his grandfather was a little helpless. Instead, he came to Zhou. Zhou rubbed his little head. You're here for something, right? He asked with a smile. My lord, we should be able to see green trees soon, since we're all out of here, right? Zhuang nodded and asked curiously. He had been in the withered forest plains since he was born. Therefore, until now, he did not even know what the green tree looked like. When Zuli heard this, his eyes were filled with shame and love. Of course, but we don't have to wait until then. I'll show you the green tree right now. Zhou patted his young shoulder and stood up to walk to the door. He instructed the soldiers at the door. The soldier left after hearing this.
Soon.
He returned with a soldier. This soldier was the one he had ordered to do something when he returned to Deadwood Village. At this moment, he was holding a wooden basin. There was a pile of soil in the wooden basin. In the middle of the soil was a small tree with golden leaves more than a meter tall. It looked very beautiful. It was a green bronze tier advanced grade jade sun tree. Zhou had previously given this soldier a green bronze tier advanced grade jade sun tree seed and a bottle of green bronze tier advanced grade plant vitality potion that could reduce the growing time required of green bronze tier plants by 10%. Then, he asked the soldier to quickly nurture this jade sun tree seed. It seemed that the effect of the plant vitality potion was indeed not bad. Unfortunately, it could not be stacked to reduce growth time. Every plant could only use the plant vitality potion once during its growth. Otherwise, it could be directly nurtured into a mature jade sun tree now. Then, Zhou got the soldiers to place the jade sun tree in the hall. Zhuang and Zhu Li's eyes lit up when they saw the jade sun tree. Zhu Li was excited. Other than excitement, Zhuang was more curious. So this is a green tree? It was indeed much better looking than a withered tree. No wonder Grandpa and the other uncles and aunties in the village could not forget it. This is a jade sun tree. In the future, it will bear delicious fruits. It's yours. Zhou smiled and placed the pot of the jade sun tree in front of Zhuang. Zhuang was stunned for a moment before being pleasantly surprised. Zuli was old and knowledgeable. He knew that this tree was clearly not an ordinary tree and hurriedly rejected it. No, my lord. It's too valuable. It's fine. Zhou waved his hand. It was just a green bronze tier jade sun tree. In the future, the lowest yield of his monster ranch would be a jade sun tree of this level. What was so precious about it? Zuli clicked his tongue at his wealth, seeing that his lord really did not care about this tree, and said to Zhuang, Hurry up and thank our lord. Thank you, my lord. After Zhuang finished speaking, he suddenly thought of something and took out a black iron tier mist core from his pocket and handed it to Zhou. My lord, this was agreed upon previously, he said. As soon as he finished speaking, a text notification appeared. Prompt. Mission quest. Withered seed gradeless. Has been completed. 1 black iron tier mist core has been distributed. You have obtained Zhuang's friendship. Zhou did not care about the notification that the mission had been completed. He smiled when he saw Zhuang hand over the black iron tier mist core. Then he took it and put it away. When Zhu Li saw the scene, he was stunned, not knowing what the two of them were doing. At this moment, he saw his grandson, Zhuang, carry the jade sun tree to him with great effort. Grandpa, this jade sun tree is yours. Zhuang smiled. Zhu Li was stunned. At this moment, he immediately understood what the Lord and Zhuang were talking about. My good grandson. Zhu Li held Zhuang in his arms, tears in his eyes and a smile on his face. He was really too happy today. Half an hour later, all the villagers of Deadwood Village had packed their luggage and had already arrived at the entrance of the village, waiting to leave with anticipation. No one was unwilling to leave other than the ignorant children.
Zhou did not waste any time.
He let them sit in the carriage behind the Mechanostrider and returned to Blazing Sun City with the Blazing Sun Army. In order to avoid old people like Zhu Li getting injured from the bumpy roads, Zhou specially arranged for them to be in the cockpit of the white silver-tier elementary grade Mechanostrider. There were 3 other seats in the cockpit than the pilot's seat. It was more than enough to accommodate a few old people. Moreover, there would not be any bumps on the road as long as they flew steadily in the air. There would also be no turbulence if the weather was good. This could also ensure the safety of these old people. 3 hours later, more than an hour before the scarlet fog descended, everyone finally returned to Blazing Sun City. After returning to Blazing Sun City, Zhou immediately called Zheng Yuanqi and Elder Zheng over and asked him to arrange a good meal for these people before arranging their residence and work. He had naturally long noticed the sallow and thin faces of the Deadwood Village villagers. Letting them eat a good meal was the best way to increase their current happiness compared to thinking about their future lives. That was indeed the case. Not long after Zheng Yuanqi arranged for them to eat, a large number of loyalty notifications appeared in front of Zhou. Your subject Zhou Ling's loyalty has increased to 100. She has become your dead loyal subject. Your subject Zhang Dakin's loyalty has increased to 100. He has become your dead loyal subject. Your subject Zhu Li's loyalty has increased to 100. He has become your dead loyal subject. Rows of loyalty increase notifications appeared in front of Zhou. Many of them had directly become dead loyal. This included the village chief, Zhu Li. Zhou sighed. Loyalty. Some subjects and lords might not be able to become dead loyal no matter how much they experienced. But sometimes, they might only need a meal to become dead loyal. He suddenly understood something. Actually, sometimes what the subjects wanted was very simple. Food and survival. That was all for them, not to have any rebellious thoughts. Of course, Zhou naturally would not only satisfy the subjects' needs. Since his subject trusted him, he would not let them down. He would give the subjects who trusted him a happy life. Then, Zhou stopped thinking about it and returned to the Lord's residence. Then, he took out the white platinum tier Lord Talent Sphere. I wonder what white platinum tier Lord Talent it is. Zhou looked at the white platinum tier Lord Talent Sphere and thought expectantly. Chapter 195 White Platinum Tier Lord Talent, The Shelter of the Goddess of Life. 1. Zhou looked at the white platinum tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. A text notification appeared. Do you want to purify it? Purify, he immediately said. As soon as he finished speaking, a golden light flashed on the Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. Its message had already changed when Zhou looked at it again. Treasure name, Lord Talent Sphere, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Treasure grade, white platinum tier, treasure effect. After absorbing it, the Lord will have the white platinum tier Lord Talent, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Treasure description, a Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a white platinum tier Lord Talent, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Zhou raised his eyebrows. Goddess of Life? He remembered that this god was also a main god like the war god, and on the same level as the god of death, Thanatos. He did not think too much about it and looked at the Lord Talent Sphere. A new text notification appeared. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere, white platinum tier?
Yes, Zhou said.
The next second, this white platinum tier Lord Talent Sphere immediately turned into countless white light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. Then, he immediately opened his Lord's personal information. His Lord Talent column had already been updated. Lord Talent, King of Loots, Mythical Tier, Unique, Gnome Alchemy Workshop, Monster Ranches, White Silver Tier, Insight Defection, Peace and Prosperity, Diamond Tier, Return to the City, Black Iron Tier, Mysterious Caravan, Yellow Gold Tier, Master Thief's Robbery Gloves, Legendary Tier, Blessing of the 10 Gods, White Silver Tier, The Shelter of the Goddess of Life, White Platinum Tier, my 10th Lord Talent. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then he opened the details of this talent. Lord Talent, The Shelter of the Goddess of Life, White Platinum Tier, The Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Your territory will have a special building, The Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Zhou looked at the short introduction of the Lord Talent thoughtfully, wanting to know what this White Platinum Tier Lord Talent was for. He had to take a look at this special building himself. Thinking of this, he called the Aaliyah Catgirl sisters from next door over and asked them to convey his orders and send someone to find the shelter. The Catgirl sisters accepted the order and left. A moment later, the two of them returned, reporting to my lord. We've found the shelters. The Catgirl sisters said respectfully. Take me there. Zhou stood up and said. They both nodded. Then, the three of them walked out of the Lord's residence and walked towards the shelter of the Goddess of Life. However, he saw a pair of familiar figures not long after he walked over. They were the princess of the Aurora Kingdom, Leah, and her maid, Wuxia. You're back. Zhou was a little surprised. I naturally have to do what I said. My lord. When I return this time, I'd already told my father that Elder Zhao can build the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower. Father takes this very seriously and has already sent the materials and manpower to build the Aurora Tower, including the resources we promised to build the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Kingdom Tower for Blazing Sun City. It can be built anytime as long as Elder Zhao can start working. In addition, I brought a Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Alchemy Technician with me. Senior is the Vice President of our Aurora Kingdom's Alchemy Technology Association. He should be able to satisfy the Lord. Leah smiled. Zhou was naturally quite satisfied. He only wanted a yellow gold tier advanced grade alchemy technician to learn the Mist Energy Cannon Alchemy Technology Blueprint he had obtained previously. He did not expect this princess to directly bring him a diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technician. This was already comparable to a legendary tier talent. However, the only thing that made him complain was, why was it yet another old man? Never mind. He only thought about it and did not mind. Having an elder at home was like having a treasure. There was nothing wrong with having more old people in his territory. If that's the case, tomorrow, I'll get Elder Zhao to start building the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower. Zhou said. Leah nodded. She was also looking forward to it. As the princess of the Aurora Kingdom, she only knew that the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower could kill extraordinary tier enemies. However, how strong was it exactly? She had never seen it with her own eyes. Therefore, she really wanted to see how the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower looked like. By the way, I wonder how long Her Highness will stay with me this time? Don't get me wrong. I don't mean anything else. I'm just asking. Zhou had a good impression of this princess, so he specially explained. Leah was stunned by Zhou's question. Then, she looked at Zhou's face and suddenly blushed. Zhou was stunned. What was going on? Why was she blushing? Well, Father has already handed over the matter of the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower to me. Therefore, I should stay in your territory for a while until the first Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower that I can bring back is completed. Leah avoided his gaze. Okay, then your highness can stay in peace. If you need anything, you can tell my subordinates. As long as it's a request that I can satisfy, I won't be stingy. Zhou did not think too much about it when he saw her strange expression. Leah nodded. I still have something to do, so I won't accompany you. If you have anything else to talk about, feel free to come to me. Okay? Goodbye, my lord. By the way, my lord. Actually, you don't have to be so polite. Just call me Leah. Leah suddenly said. Okay, Leah. Zhou was stunned for a moment before saying with a smile. Then, without saying anything else, he walked towards the shelter with the Aaliyah sisters. Leah stood where she was and quietly looked in the direction where Zhou had left. At this moment, her father's words before she left sounded in her mind. You're not young anymore. It's time to have a husband. I think that Lord of the Blazing Sun is not bad. To be able to become the strongest novice lord among the lords of the same race, his ability must be top-notch. You've seen his character. He's friendly, kind, mature, steady, and motivated. Stay in Blazing Sun City for a while longer this time. Feelings can be nurtured, ha. Father really can say anything. Liu was confused and at a loss. Actually, Yu Qiao feels that this lord is not bad either, even though he's only a lord of a small territory now. But Yu Qiao feels that he will definitely be worthy of Her Highness in the future. Yu Qiao's crisp and smiling voice sounded. Even though Liu was her master, they were more like sisters. Therefore, she knew what was on this princess's mind. Don't spout nonsense, Liu said angrily. Then, she sighed softly. The Aurora Kingdom is surrounded by enemies on all sides. I'm not in the mood for romance. She shook her head. Your Highness, you're too tired. Yu Qiao's eyes were filled with tears. Only Yu Qiao, who accompanied Liu every day, knew how tired this princess was. I'm not tired. Liu smiled. Yu Qiao pouted. How could Yu Qiao not know whether the princess was tired or not? If only the princes were still here, she whispered. Liu pursed her lips. Yu Qiao also knew that she had said something wrong and could not help but stick out her tongue. What they did not know was that at this moment, Zhou, who had yet to walk far, had already heard their words with the powerful sixth senses of the chaos humans. I see. No wonder she had that expression on, Zhou thought. Chapter 196, White Platinum Tier Lord Talent, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. 2. Zhou shook his head in his heart. As the princess of the Aurora Kingdom, Liu was worried about the future of the Aurora Kingdom, so she did not have any thoughts of romance. As the lord of a territory with an uncertain future, he naturally did not have such thoughts either. From the looks of it, the two of them were not fated. At least for the time being. Let it be. Zhou did not take it to heart. A moment later, the two of them arrived at their destination. A sand building made of gray sand and rocks appeared in front of Zhou. Above it was a statue of the goddess of life, Aerith, 7 to 8 meters tall. This goddess had a beautiful face and was wearing old-fashioned and dignified clothes. She closed her eyes with a holy and forgiving expression on her face. Her hands were clasped together, as if she was praying for something. Below the goddess statue was a gray stone door. At this moment, the door was closed. What a simple building. Is this really a god spirit building? Zhou was a little surprised. Buildings made of basic sand materials looked too normal. It was like the most normal desert building. However, it had to be said that the architectural style of this building could still reflect the dignity and tolerance of a god spirit. Zhou looked at the building and the building information appeared. Building name, the Shelter of the Goddess of Life. Building level, special grade. Building function 1. Bishop of the Shelter, Carol Moeli and her priests, nuns, and other clerics can provide basic shelter services to the lord and subject of the territory once a day for free. However, you will need to spend Faith Divine Crystals to buy more protection in the future if you need it. Current protection types. Basic protection. Life Holy Water, 1 Faith Divine Crystal. Basic protection. Divine Spell, Life Healing Technique, 2 Faith Divine Crystals. Basic protection. Divine Spell, Appeasement, 2 Faith Divine Crystals. Basic protection. Divine Spell, Mental Communication, 2 Faith Divine Crystals. Advanced protection. Hire a Life Priest, 3 Faith Divine Crystals per day. Advanced protection. Hire a Life Paladin, 5 Faith Divine Crystals per day. Advance. Protection. Divine Spell, Soul Restoration, 3 Faith Divine Crystals. Advanced Protection, Limb Restoration, 10 Faith Divine Crystals. Advanced Protection, Holy Protection, 20 Faith Divine Crystals. Advanced Protection, Small Resurrection Spell, 30 Faith Divine Crystals. Advanced Protection, Big Resurrection Spell, 100 Faith Divine Crystals. Building Function 2. When the Lord and his forces go out to hunt fog monsters, They will encounter fog monsters with a small chance of dropping scarlet crystals. After handing the scarlet crystals to the shelter of the goddess of life, they can be converted into faith divine crystals and be exchanged for the protection they want. Construction upgrade. This building originates from the Lord talent and cannot be upgraded. Prompt 1. The above level of the shelter service will increase as the territory level increases. Prompt 2. The above shelter service requires the consumption of faith divine crystals of the same quality. Prompt 3. Building Effect 2 is the exclusive building effect of this special building. The other shelters of the Goddess of Life don't have this ability. Building Description. The Goddess of Life saw that all life forms in the world were suffering from war, so she built the shelter of the Goddess of Life everywhere in the high continent to reduce the death of life forms. All life forms who enter the shelter of the Goddess of Life are protected by the Goddess of Life. Building Function 2 actually said that it can produce faith divine crystals. A surprised smile appeared on Zhou's face. He naturally had not forgotten that there was also the temple of the god of death, Thanatos, in the desolate Gobi. He had even exchanged a Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystal for an epic tier advanced grade death immunity scroll. The god of death also told him that if he obtained more faith divine crystals in the future, he could go to him to exchange for more treasures. He did not care much when he found out about this back then. This was because he did not have a way to obtain the faith divine crystal at all. As time passed, he had almost forgotten about this. Now that he saw the news of the faith divine crystal, he immediately remembered. Zhou looked at Building Function 2 again. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. I'll encounter fog monsters with a small chance of dropping scarlet crystals. No matter how small the probability is, it has to become 100% in the face of my King of Loots. I shouldn't be lacking in the faith divine crystals in the future. When I accumulate enough, I'll go to the god of death and see if I can exchange for something good. Thinking of this, Zhou looked at the types of protection provided by Building Function 1. After reading them all, his eyes widened. If the basic protection was considered standard, then it must be a little unreasonable once it came to the advanced protection. For example, in these 7 advanced protections, among them, Life Priests and Life Paladins were both kingdom-level soldier types. The former could use divine spells to treat his soldiers' injuries at any time. Moreover, the healing effect would be faster and more effective than doctor's treatment. The latter had powerful combat strength and handy healing and support abilities. He could be considered an all-rounder on the battlefield. And the divine spell, Soul Restoration, could heal soul injuries. This treatment method was currently unique in his territory. Divine spell, Limb Restoration, was even more so. With this divine technique, disabled people would no longer need biological prosthesis when they had enough faith divine crystals. However, if there were not enough faith divine crystals, the biological prosthesis could naturally satisfy the needs of more disabled people. If the above advanced protection was considered ordinary, then the remaining 3 advanced protection would be the top tier amongst them. Divine technique name, Holy Protection, grade, Black Iron tier elementary grade, White Silver tier elementary grade. Divine spell effect, dispels most of the negative effects of its existence. Even fog monsters modified by the scarlet fog can be restored to their previous state through Holy Protection. Divine spell name, Small Resurrection spell, grade, Black Iron tier elementary grade, White Silver tier elementary grade. Divine spell effect, resurrects life forms. Spellcast prerequisite 1. The level of the target's fate and strength does not exceed the number of casters. Spellcast prerequisite 2. The target died within 24 hours. Spellcast prerequisite 3. The target's physical body is 70% complete and his brain and heart were not destroyed. Divine spell name, Big Resurrection spell, grade, Black Iron tier elementary grade, White Silver tier elementary grade. Divine spell effect, ignore any rules and revive dead creatures. No matter how high the other party's fate is, even a hero, high-level lord, god spirit, totem spirit, and other high-level creatures can be directly revived. Even heroes can be revived. I'm afraid that even the Elven Empire would have to pay a huge price to resurrect a hero, right? Zhou's gaze landed on the final big resurrection spell, and he could not help but click his tongue. Then, a smile appeared on his face. In the future, he could also use this method to revive the heroes under his command who had died in battle. Chapter 197 Cardinal Carol Moali. Zhou's conjecture. Zhou looked at the final divine art, the great resurrection spell, in satisfaction. There was no doubt. This was the most valuable protection service in the shelter of the goddess of life. It could revive heroes and even god spirits. Even in empire-level factions or even divine kingdom-level factions, this should be a relatively top-notch ability. However, even though it could revive any life form, the casting conditions were also relatively harsh. Firstly, it was naturally the price of the Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine Crystal. After experiencing the God of Death incident, Zhou naturally knew the value of a Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine Crystal. That was something that could be exchanged for an epic tier treasure. It was extremely expensive. Secondly, the resurrected could not exceed the caster's ability. This would depend on the strength of the cardinal in the shelter. Thirdly, the Great Resurrection spell, which could only be used once a day, also limited the number of resurrections. He did not know if this could be improved in the future. As for the final Great Resurrection spell, it could only be used by Cardinal Carol Moali. This restriction was not so important. As for the other two advanced protections, the effect of the holy protection was straightforward. In the future, if he wanted to save some living beings who were trapped in the negative effects or even some fog life forms modified by the Scarlet Fog, he could use this holy protection divine art to remove the negative effects or even the fog modification on them. Zhou immediately thought of Elder Wuxia. Elder Wu had been injured by a hero of the Tang Kingdom in his early years. In addition, he was old, and his strength had directly deteriorated from the original Diamond Tier Advanced grade to the current Yellow Gold Tier Elementary grade. Previously, he had asked Bai Yuejing to use the essential prescriptions worth 1,000 gold for emergencies in order to treat Wuxia. In the end, he still could not resolve the remaining Scarlet Hero power in Elder Wu's body after trying. He could only stabilize the injuries in his body. Now that he had this holy protection, he might be able to resolve Elder Wu's injuries. Zhou also valued the second small resurrection spell. With this small resurrection spell, he could use it to revive the soldiers or subjects in his territory in the future. This was almost equivalent to a real-life version of the resurrection token. It was just that the number was far inferior to the resurrection token. These protections are good, but they all need Faith Divine Crystals. I wonder what the probability of scarlet crystals appearing is. Zhou thought. This would have to wait until tomorrow. It was already late today, so they definitely could not go out to hunt the fog monsters. At this moment, the door of the shelter opened. A beautiful woman in a red robe with white trim walked out of the door. She had long green hair, green eyes, sharp ears, and a tall figure. She had a harmonious and natural elegance. At the same time, 10 clergymen, 10 priests, 50 nuns, and 50 life paladins also walked out of the door in an orderly manner. Then, they stood behind her in 2 rows. Red Cardinal Carol Moali, with all the clergy in the shelter greets, "My lord." Carol Moali bowed respectfully. "Greetings, my lord." X120 The 120 clergymen behind her also said respectfully. "Everyone get up. With you joining my blazing sun city, we will definitely be like a tiger with wings in the future." Zhou looked at the people bowing to him and said with a smile, "My lord, you flatter us." Carol Moali smiled. Zhou also smiled and opened her attribute panel. Subject, Carol Moali. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Combat class name, Red Cardinal, Goddess of Life. Class, White Platinum Tier Advanced grade. Ability overview. The fanatic believer of the Goddess of Life is only one step away from the Holy Spirit. She is in charge of all the major matters in the shelter of the Goddess of Life and has extremely high prestige in the shelter. She has mastered many divine arts and is best at the big resurrection spell. Skills. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Great Resurrection Spell. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Small Resurrection Spell. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Holy Protection. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Limb Restoration. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Soul Restoration. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Mental Communication. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Appeasement. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Divine Art, Life Healing Technique. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Creation of Life Holy Water. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Prayer. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Organization Management. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Encouragement. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Preaching. Loyalty. Dead Loyal. Potential. Epic Tier Advanced Grade, My Good Lord. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Strength. And her skills are all White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, which means she can revive any living being below the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade with the Great Resurrection Spell. Her potential is even Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou was quite satisfied. There was only one person with Epic Tier Advanced Grade potential in his territory. That was Bai Yun. Now, there was Carol Moali. As for the fact that Nazario was a dragon with Legendary Tier Advanced Grade potential, there was nothing to compare to. He suddenly thought of a problem. If you have to make a choice between the Goddess of Life and I, who will you choose? Zhou suddenly asked. I was born because of the Lord, so naturally, it would be the Lord. If the Lord is a god, then I will be a fanatic believer of the Lord, Carol Moali said, without hesitation. Zhou was even more satisfied when he saw this. Then he noticed what Carol Moali said next. What is the connection between fanatic believers and dead loyal subjects? Zhou asked. If the person whom the dead loyal subjects are loyal to become a god, they will immediately become fanatic believers, Carol Moali said. Zhou raised his eyebrows. So that was the situation. Then what's going on with the Holy Spirit? He asked again. The Holy Spirit's loyalty has been further sublimated as a fanatic believer. At the same time, it has comprehended the power of believing in the God Spirit and obtained the blessing of the God Spirit. That's why it became the Holy Spirit. The birth of the Holy Spirit is extremely difficult. Not only do you need high levels of loyalty, high levels of comprehension, and high potential. Moreover, it requires the blessing of the God Spirit and some luck to achieve it. Therefore, every Holy Spirit is valued by the gods. There has even been a case where the God Spirits personally took revenge for the Holy Spirit after the Holy Spirit died and fought with other gods. Carol Moali's eyes were filled with desire as she spoke. As a fanatic believer, she naturally wanted to become a Holy Spirit too. It was just that Zhou had yet to become a god. Otherwise, she would definitely work hard to become Zhou's Holy Spirit. Zhou was deep in thought. There was actually such a benefit for loyalty. No wonder the Lord could finally build a divine kingdom to become a god. It turned out that dead loyal citizens could actually become fanatic believers seamlessly. Thinking of this, Zhou felt that his foundation was not bad. This was because he seemed to have almost 100 dead loyal subjects in his territory. These were all future fanatic believers. In the future, perhaps some among them could become Holy Spirits. He continued to ponder about the future when peace and prosperity advanced to the extraordinary tier Lord talent, peaceful times, and then advanced to the mythical tier in the end. Would he obtain a mythical tier Lord talent related to the believers? Chapter 198 White Platinum Tier Advance Grade Alchemy Pharmacist. Shape-Shift Potion. Zhou thought for a long time and stopped thinking about it because it was too far away from him. He did not know how long it would take him to become the most ordinary lower-level god, since he was only at the White-Silver Tier Intermediate grade now. Not to mention that his peace and prosperity had not even advanced to peaceful times. It was even further away from advancing to the mythical tier Lord talent. My lord, do you want to follow me into the shelter to take a look? Carol Moali took the initiative to ask, seeing that her lord was silent. Okay. Zhou came back to his senses and nodded. At the same time, he instructed Aaliyah behind him to invite Elder Wu over. Aaliyah left. Zhou, Atli, Carol Moali, and the clergy entered the shelter. After entering, Zhou realized that its internal arrangements were very simple. It was similar to the church he had seen in his previous life. Its internal structure was divided into the front hall, where holy water was placed, the middle hall, where people prayed, and the altar. There were also changing rooms, confessional booths, dormitories, and some public areas. It could be said that even if it was small, it still contained the essentials. The group of people chatted as they shopped. During this period, Zhou also observed the other clergymen. He realized that their strength was all white silver tier elementary grade, and their potential was all white platinum tier advanced grade. According to Carol Moali, other than her initial strength as a cardinal of the shelter, which was white platinum tier advanced grade, the strength of the others would increase as the territory level increased, until they advanced to the white platinum tier advanced grade. This was also the limit of automatically increasing their strength. It was fine if they wanted to continue improving in the future. However, he had to increase their potential first. If their potential increased, their strength would increase. However, at that time, their strength would no longer increase with the level of their territory. Instead, they would need to obtain promotion energy to increase normally. Zhou nodded. A moment later, Aaliyah and Wu Xian came over. "Greetings, my lord," Wu Xian said respectfully. Then he looked around in surprise. "I didn't expect our territory to have the shelter of the goddess of life. When was this built? Why didn't I notice it before? Has old Wu seen such a shelter before?" Zhou asked in surprise. "There are 4 shelters of the goddess of life in the Aurora Kingdom. However, I've only heard and seen it before, but this is the first time I've entered. Why does this place feel different from the shelter I've seen before?" Wu Xian was a little puzzled. Zhou smiled and did not explain. How could it be the same? This was created by his Lord Talent and had a special building effect. It only looked similar to other shelters. "Carol, take a look at his injuries. Can he be cured?" Zhou asked Carol Moali. Wu Xian was stunned. Carol Moali also looked at Wu Xian. "Don't resist." After saying that, she extended her hand. A faint green light flew out of her hand and fused into Wu Xin's body. In just a little more than 10 seconds, she retracted the green light. "We can use the holy protection to heal his injuries." However, his injuries were caused by an extraordinary tier scarlet hero. I'm only a white platinum tier advanced grade cardinal. If he wants to be completely cured, he has to come and receive the holy protection once a day. If nothing goes wrong, he should be completely cured in about 10 days. At that time, his strength should also recover to diamond tier. Carol Moali said. The two of them heard this. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. Wu Xian became excited. Can my injuries really be healed? He was excited and in disbelief. This pain had tortured him for decades. Even extraordinary tier advanced grade doctors could not treat him. The girl in front of him looked like she only had white platinum tier strength. Could she really do such a thing? The power of the Scarlet Hero is indeed very powerful, but divine art represents the power of God. Could the level of a god be lower than the level of a hero? Carol Moali saw through his thoughts and said calmly. Wu Xian stopped talking. However, the joy on his face exposed his current mood. Okay, then I'll come to you when I gather enough faith divine crystals. Zhou said. Carol Moali nodded. The essence of the divine art was to ask the god spirit to bestow all kinds of power. Even though divine art personnel like them could also release divine arts without the faith divine crystal, such power and effect of this divine art naturally could not compare to the effect of the divine art with the premise of the faith divine crystal. Zhou acknowledged. Then, they chatted for a while more before leaving. Thank you, my lord. He had just walked out of the shelter. Wu Xian knelt down and said excitedly. There's no need for that. Elder Wu is my most loyal subject. I'm also your lord. If I don't think for you, who should I think for? Zhou smiled and helped him up. When Wu Xian heard this, he was touched and ashamed. The Lord had already done so much for him. He actually entertained thoughts of retirement occasionally. Retirement. No more. I can fight for the Lord for another 50 years. At this moment, Wu Xian seemed to have returned to his youth. Hot-blooded. Excitement. Then, the two of them chatted for a while before separating. Wu Xian went home to rest and prepare for the battle tomorrow. Zhou brought the Aliyah sisters to the Gate of Summoning. Then, he took out the white platinum tier advanced grade alchemy pharmacist recruitment book he had obtained during the day and threw it into the Gate of Summoning. Soon, a figure walked out. He was a middle-aged human with colorful long hair. His body was thin, and he looked a little dispirited, but his eyes were very bright. Lin Nanfeng greets my lord. Lin Nanfeng knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Welcome to Blazing Sun City." Zhou smiled and nodded. This was a white platinum tier advanced grade alchemy pharmacist. How could he not be happy? The only thing that surprised him was that he actually recruited a human alchemy pharmacist this time. He thought that it would be a foreign race like Ashburn and Carter, the gnome alchemy pharmacists. Then, Zhou opened Lin Nanfeng's attribute panel. Subject, Lin Nanfeng. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Life profession, alchemy pharmacist. Class, white platinum tier advanced grade. Ability overview, an alchemy pharmacist from the Aurora Kingdom who has mastered the making of many potions. He is obsessed with making potions and likes to develop new potions, but most of them end in failure. Skills. Alchemy potions, plant vitality potion, white platinum tier advanced grade. Alchemy potion, life potion, white platinum tier advanced grade. Alchemy potion, energy potion, white platinum tier intermediate grade. Alchemy potion, detox potion, yellow gold tier elementary grade. Alchemy potion, madness war potion, yellow gold tier advanced grade. Alchemy potion, shapeshifting into water element, white silver tier intermediate grade. Alchemy potion, shapeshifting into a mammoth, green. Bronze tier elementary grade. Alchemy potion, shapeshifting into a flying eagle, black iron tier advanced grade. Zhou's gaze landed on the last skill. Shape-shift potion? He was a little surprised. Chapter 199 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Alchemy Technician, Zhang Keshuan. This was the first time Zhou had seen a potion like the Shape-Shift potion. He opened the attribute information of these 3 potions. He realized that the abilities of the 3 potions were indeed the same as their names. It could allow the user to shapeshift into eagle, mammoth, and water elemental. However, there was a certain time limit. This was because after shapeshifting, one needed to use their own energy to maintain the shapeshifting time. After his energy was used up, the shapeshift would be over. This reminded Zhou of druids. Shapeshifting into all kinds of natural creatures was the specialty of the druid professionals. He did not expect that he could even achieve the same effect with the help of potions without becoming a druid, even though he did not know the exact difference between the two. But it had to be said, the abilities involved in the 2 classes of alchemy pharmacist and alchemy technician were really comprehensive. Then, Zhou asked the other party to look for Zheng Yuanqi and tell him his ability. Then he would go to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop to work. Linger's territory was already connected to Blazing Sun City through the spatial teleportation array. Therefore, he no longer needed to personally buy medicinal herbs at the marketplace. After handing the relevant talents to Elder Zheng would naturally ask him what medicinal herbs he needed to make a potion. Then, he would bring a large number of mist cores to find Linger and let Linger use them to buy the corresponding medicinal herbs in the marketplace before nurturing them in the divine herb garden. After the herb cultivation was over, he would send someone through the spatial teleportation array back to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop and the various medical centers to make completed potions or medicines. In the past, Zhou had to participate in the work himself. But now he was completely liberated. This was also one of the benefits of Spiritual Medicine City becoming his subordinate territory. Moreover, Zhou did not have to worry about Linger being greedy for the Mist Core. This was not only because he trusted Linger. Another reason was, after Linger became the lord of his subordinate territory, loyalty also appeared in her stats. Zhou had naturally seen Linger's loyalty. Her loyalty of 99 points was not dead loyal, but there would basically not be a problem of betrayal. Moreover, the medicinal herbs in the marketplace were clearly priced. Under Zheng Yuanqi's lead, there was already a group of very loyal subjects in charge of reconciling the accounts in his territory. They were in charge of sorting out the income and expenditure of the territory. They would immediately discover any problem with the accounts. Therefore, it was very difficult for corruption to happen, which put him completely at ease, leaving the acquisition of medicinal herbs to Zheng Yuanqi and Linger. Now, he was only in charge of purchasing some minerals and other items in the marketplace to satisfy the work needs of the blacksmiths, carpenters, and alchemy technicians, as well as some of his own needs. These things would not take up much of his time. He just needed to make some time to buy them. Moreover, he now had more territory tokens. Zhou would also hand over the job of acquisition of minerals to them when he recruited another lord of a subordinate territory in the future and their loyalty increased. It would allow him to take another step forward on the path of becoming a hands-off boss. Thinking of this, Zhou suddenly thought of the deal he had set up to buy items from the Lord Battlefield. I almost forgot. Zhou opened the marketplace and looked at the results of this transaction. Results: 154 green bronze tier resurrection tokens, 146 green bronze tier territory rebirth tokens, 10,241 black iron tier master servant territory contracts, 205 green bronze tier master servant territory contracts, for white silver tier master servant territory contracts, trading goods. 16,441,000 black iron tier mist cores consumed. 33,559,000 black iron tier mist cores remaining. He frowned slightly. He prepared 50 million black iron tier mist cores, but he had only used a little more than 16 million black iron tier mist cores. The remaining 33 million black iron tier mist cores had not been spent. How long has it been? Zhou immediately gathered market information. In the end, he confirmed that most of them were offering a lower bid than him, or the same at best. His offer was not low, which meant the lords were unwilling to sell the Lord Battlefield items in their hands. It seemed that the other lords also value this Lord Battlefield activity very much. That's why they are unwilling to sell the items they obtained in the Lord Battlefield. Zhou pondered. It made sense. This Lord Battlefield activity concerned their rankings. The strength enhancement effect of the Lord title would affect the difference in strength between him and the enemy Lord in the real world. In the Lord Battlefield, they still had room for error and could lose a few rounds. But in reality, they would be directly killed if they lost because of the Lord title. A slightly smarter Lord would naturally not do such a thing that only looked at immediate benefits. However, even so, Zhou still did not withdraw this deal. He would just leave it on the marketplace and buy as many battlefield items as he could. In any case, he was not in a hurry to use them. After that, he asked Aaliyah to bring over the diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technician that Princess Leia had brought. Aaliyah received the order and left. A moment later, she brought a thin but hale and hearty elder in white to him. "Greetings, my lord." Zhang Keshuan bowed respectfully. "Elder Zhang, you don't have to be so polite. Since you've already joined our Blazing Sun City, we're family. Welcome to our family." Zhou stood up and smiled. Zhang Keshuan smiled and nodded, heaving a sigh of relief seeing how friendly Zhou was. He had already heard of this lord before coming. A young and promising human lord of the Cerulean planet, a lord favored by the Supreme Will. Originally, he thought that a lord who could create such an achievement and career so easily must be an extremely arrogant person. He had seen many capable and arrogant young geniuses in reality, so he did not expect this lord to be so friendly. His reputation was not in vain. In comparison, he immediately felt that the arrogant geniuses he knew in the past were incomparable to this lord. Thinking of this, Zhang Kechuan looked at Zhou even more kindly. At the same time, Zhou was also looking at the other party's attribute panel information. Subject: Zhang Kechuan, territory, Blazing Sun City, life profession, alchemy technician, profession class, diamond tier intermediate grade, ability overview, vice president of the Aurora Kingdom's Alchemy Technology Association. He has a pivotal position in the Aurora Kingdom's alchemy technology field. The alchemy technology product that brought him fame was the diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology product, Divine Light Titan Armor. His dream is to break through the limitation of his potential and become the #1 extraordinary tier alchemy technician in the Aurora Kingdom. Skills: talent, alchemy technology creation, diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology, Divine Light Titan Armor, diamond tier advanced grade large-scale armor manufacturing theory and practice, diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology products, human mechanical coordination alchemy technology chip, diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology products, giant ray cannon, diamond tier advanced grade alchemy technology products, gravity flying device, diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology products, divine engine, loyalty, 88, potential, diamond tier advanced grade. Zhou looked at the other party's skill list and could not help but raise his eyebrows. Chapter 200: Diamond Intermediate Grade Alchemy Technology, Divine Light Titan. News about Zheng Fuguei. Zhou was a little surprised. Most of the skills of this diamond intermediate grade alchemy technician seemed to be for the Divine Light Titan, a diamond tier intermediate grade alchemy technology product. Or rather, it was the composition of skills required for this Divine Light Titan alchemy technology. Everything other than that were some low-level alchemy technology products. Zhou took a look and felt that he was not interested. His gaze returned to the Divine Light Titan, an alchemy technology product. He opened the detailed information of this alchemy technology product and read it. He immediately thought of a movie on Cerulean Planet after reading it. Pacific Rim. The Divine Light Titan armor that the other party studied was very similar to the super-large mecha soldiers created by humans to deal with underwater monsters in the Pacific Rim. However, the reason why Zhang Kechuan created the Divine Light Titan was naturally not to deal with the underwater monsters, but to deal with a foreign race kingdom in the northwest of the Aurora Kingdom. It was called the Titan Kingdom. The Titan clan lived inside. Even though the Titan clan had very few clansmen, they were very huge in size. Adult Titans were generally more than 20 meters tall. The Titan King, the strongest among them, was even more than 50 meters tall. These Titans were very primitive and lived like they were in the Stone Age, but they were born with extremely high combat strength, so they were extremely difficult to deal with. One of the important methods that the Aurora Kingdom could use to resist these Titans in the northwest was the Divine Light Titan armor created by Zhang Kechuan. Zhou clicked his tongue. My God. It turned out that the subjects in the northern part of the Aurora Kingdom were watching, besieging the Titans, Divine Light Titans, and Attack on Titans every day. Thinking of this, he really wanted to go to the scene to take a look. Elder Zhang, how long will it take if I want to build the Divine Light Titan armor you created in Blazing Sun City? Zhou asked. My lord, do you want to hear the truths? Zhang Kechuan hesitated for a moment before saying, Of course. Then it'll be straightforward. According to my observations, there's no problem making low-level alchemy technology products given the current alchemy technology industrial foundation and the talent foundation of Blazing Sun City. However, it will take at least a year or so for such a huge advanced alchemy technology like the Divine Light Titan armor to be built, Zhang Kechuan said. Zhou immediately went numb. A year or so. He had only been in the High Continent for 12 days. He might not even be interested in the Divine Light Titan armor anymore then. He immediately dismissed the idea of building this alchemy technology product in Blazing Sun City. If he really needed them, he could just buy them directly from Aurora Kingdom. He just did not know if the Aurora Kingdom was willing to sell them. However, even though he could not build the Divine Light Titan armor, The other party's words also reminded Zhou that it was now time to build the industrial foundations of alchemy technology, or even cerulean planets technology, in his territory. This would save him from such a situation in the future. He stopped thinking about it and took out a blueprint from his spatial ring. It was the alchemy technology blueprint of the yellow gold tier advanced grade mist cannon. Elder Zhang, I'll leave this blueprint to you. Our territory urgently needs an offensive method. Elder Zhang, you can immediately start making it after learning it. Don't worry about the materials. The territory will be in charge. Zhou handed him the blueprint and said. Nazario could also be seen as a means of attack. However, it was Zhou's greatest trump card. Zhou did not want to use it easily. Therefore, he still needed a battlefield weapon like the Mist Energy Cannon, which had a long range and could not only kill giant creatures, but also attack and naval battles. When Zhang Keshuan heard Zhou's words, he took it curiously. He was a little surprised when he saw the blueprint. Mist Energy Cannon? My lord, you actually have its alchemy technology blueprint? He looked at Zhou in surprise. What happened? Isn't this mist energy cannon used very widely? Zhou was stunned. That was what the blueprint introduction said. Could it be? Zhou looked at Zhang Keshuan. Zhang Keshuan smiled bitterly and shook his head. The mist energy cannon was born from an alchemy master among the gnomes, and the gnomes are at least hundreds of millions of kilometers away from the Aurora Kingdom, so it's widespread and famous. However, this doesn't include this area of the Aurora Kingdom. We've all only heard of it, but no one knows how to make mist energy cannons. I didn't expect my lord to have it. He sighed with emotion.
Zhou blinked.
Then he did not think too much about it. In his opinion, the Aurora Tower was much fiercer than the mist energy cannon. It was just very difficult to move. Moreover, its energy core, Aurora crystals, was relatively difficult to obtain. Even though the power and range of the mist energy cannon were inferior to the Aurora Tower, however, its advantage was that its energy was ordinary and could be manufactured on a large scale. Moreover, it could easily move its position and could even be used at sea. They each had their own strengths and weaknesses. At this moment, another thought appeared in his mind. Should he sell some to the Aurora Kingdom after the mist energy cannons was manufactured? He thought for a moment. He quickly dismissed this thought. At the moment, he was not short of money, nor did he have any other needs for the time being. It would not be too late to sell it when there was a need. After that, Zhang Keshuan learned the blueprint of the mist energy cannon in person. After Zhou chatted with him for a while, Zhang Keshuan left. After he left, Zhou opened the exchange and set up a transaction to buy materials for the mist energy cannons. The cost of making a yellow gold tier advanced grade mist cannon was 20 yellow gold tier mist cores. He directly threw 100 sets of materials for the mist energy cannon into this transaction, which was 1,000 yellow gold tier mist cores. After that, he closed the exchange page. Then he asked Aaliyah to call Elder Zhang over and told him about the Jade Sun Tree. After Elder Zhang found out about the Jade Sun Tree, he immediately promised to be fully responsible for this matter and strive to turn the Blazing Sun Desert into an oasis as soon as possible. After that, the two of them chatted about this for a while. Then, Elder Zhang told Zhou two things. The first thing was that Zhang Li's teacher, Li Huiyue, had finally woken up. However, even though she had regained consciousness, she could only lie on the bed. It would probably take some time for her to recover to a state well enough to walk. The second thing was, just today, when Zhou led his troops to conquer the Withered Forest Plain, a group of 142 refugees came to Blazing Sun City and requested to become subjects of Blazing Sun City. They said that they had heard that Blazing Sun City was a very safe territory. The subjects lived very well here, and the Lord was very wise. He was not muddle-headed, and was also strong. That was why they came here to join Blazing Sun City. When Zhou first listened, he was still a little puzzled. Why would refugees suddenly join their Blazing Sun City? When he heard the last part, he immediately reacted. This was clearly the effect of the slightly increasing the probability of foreign life forms coming to join him from the effect of the peace and prosperity Lord talent. Are there any with special skills among the 142 people? Zhou asked. There are 20 to 30 basic lifestyle professionals and more than 10 military professionals. Most of them are black iron tier and green bronze tier. Apart from that, they are some ordinary subjects. Zhang Yuanqi said. Zhou acknowledged. He was not disappointed. Free subjects. What was there to be disappointed about? Zhou and Zhang Yuanqi chatted for a while about the construction and development of the territory before Zhang Yuanqi bade farewell and left. Not long after he left, a familiar voice came from outside. Reporting to my lord. Zhang Fuguei requests an audience. Bring him in. Zhou looked at Atli. Atli nodded and went out. A moment later, Zhang Fuguei stood respectfully in front of him. Reporting to my lord. We just went to the Sandstorm Forbidden Land today. How's it going? Do secret forces really exist there, or even the kingdom of the undead? Zhou asked. Zhang Fuguei nodded. Yes. Chapter 201 Secret of the Undead Kingdom. World Channel Lord Announcement. Zhou raised his eyebrows. There really was. His expression was a little solemn. It was not good news for him to have such a mysterious kingdom of the undead at the border of his territory, and he did not know if the other party was friend or foe. And Zhou looked at Zhang Fuguei. I quickly sensed a hidden faction below after I led the caravan into the Sandstorm Forbidden Ground. Then, we used our unlimited rite of passage to enter this kingdom of the undead and understood some of the situation inside. The place where this kingdom of the undead is called the capital of eternal silence by the king of the undead inside. There are millions of undead inside, and they are all undead humans. But they're all asleep now. And the existences that command these undeads are the king of eternal silence and the queen of eternal silence, who can wake up at any time. After we got here, these two quickly sensed our arrival and took the initiative to find us. Normally speaking, we should trade with them as a mysterious caravan. However, we didn't prepare any goods at that time. We didn't trade with them for the time being on the grounds that we had come to inspect the market. We also mentioned that we would trade the next time round. They didn't refuse. Then we came back. Zhang Fuguei said. Didn't they stop you? Zhou asked subconsciously. Then, he realized that he had asked a useless question. That was indeed the case. Zhang Fuguei smiled when he heard that. They wouldn't dare. Zhou acknowledged. How strong are they? Do you know why they stay underground? Is there a possibility that they can come out from underground? Zhou asked 3 questions in a row. These 3 questions were crucial to him. He did not want a bomb that could explode at any time around his territory. As the lords of a kingdom-level faction, the king and queen of eternal silence have already reached the peak of the kingdom level, which is epic tier advanced grade. Moreover, they are infinitely close to the legendary tier. And these two should be heroes. As for why they've been staying underground, I don't know. They didn't tell me the reason. However, I saw some murals and words near the entrance to the kingdom of the undead. Perhaps those murals and words recorded the answer. Also, according to my observations, this undead couple is very resistant to returning to the ground, and even more resistant to foreign creatures entering their undead world. Actually, even if we're the mysterious caravan, neither of the undead couple is too willing to receive us. But they met us because they didn't want to cause trouble. So, I think the chances of them coming out of the ground are not high. Zhang Fuguei pondered for a moment and said. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine as long as he did not come out and harm his territory. His territory could not withstand the might of a kingdom-level faction with millions of undead army. Then he pondered. A moment later, Zhou looked up at Zhang Fuguei. Tomorrow, I'll bring the goods and go to the undead kingdom with your mysterious caravan, he said. Zhou naturally did not forget. There was also a fragment of the Emperor of Sand's glory scepter suspected to exist in the kingdom of the undead. It concerned the inheritance of an empire. Zhou naturally would not let it go. Moreover, Other than the Emperor of Sand's glory scepter, Zhou wanted to trade for something else. My lord wants to go personally, but if there's any danger, it'll be very difficult for us to protect my lord. Zheng Fugui was in a difficult position. As mysterious merchants, they did not have much combat strength even though they had the blessing of the Supreme Will. They could rely on the blessing of the Supreme Will to protect themselves in front of the buyer, but it was very difficult for them to protect the living beings outside the mysterious caravan. It was the same for their lord. Don't worry, I have my ways. Zhou shook his head and said, Yes, my lord. Zheng Fugui did not say anything else, seeing that his lord had already decided. After that, the two of them chatted for a while more before Zheng Fugui left. The kingdom of the undead, the king and queen of eternal silence, the Aurora Kingdom and the Tan Kingdom, my Blazing Sun City, is really a troublesome place. Zhou smiled bitterly. Then he quickly composed himself. It was useless to blame the heavens and others. Since that was the case, he would think of a way to break out of the situation. The best way was naturally to work hard to increase his strength. This way, he would not be completely helpless even if a disaster happened one day in the future. After my Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Tower is completed, I would have some form of counterattack even if a kingdom-level force were to come personally. Zhou thought. Then he stopped thinking about it and took out the regional token of the Withered Forest Plain and placed it on the stone tablet of his territory. The next second, a suction force suddenly came from the territory stone tablet and sucked this area token into the stone tablet. Rows of golden text notifications appeared. Congratulations on obtaining a white silver tier regional token, Withered Forest Plain, and officially becoming the regional lord of this region. There is a new Withered Forest Plains white silver tier in your regional territory. You have obtained a regional treasure chest. Exclusive to Withered Forest Plains, Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first regional lord to officially own 5 regional territories. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Owning 5 regional territories actually triggered the World Channel's Lord announcement. Zhou was stunned. Then he sighed. He felt that it had been a while since he had been on the channel's Lord announcement. Now that he suddenly heard it, he was really not used to it. Then he opened the World Channel. That was indeed the case. The lords on the World Channel were discussing the announcement. Big Boss Blazing Sun, my forever god. Oh my god, he has already conquered 5 regional territories. I'm still worried about how to fight the local regional Scarlet Lord. I just conquered a Black Iron Tier regional territory and am still recuperating. I didn't expect the big shot to have already won 5 consecutive victories. Hold on tight to Big Brother Blazing Sun's thigh. I hope those who are reading this will always be happy. Big Boss Blazing Sun, please bring my ashes with you if I die. If you encounter a bad person, sprinkle them on him if it's downwind, and let me protect you one last time. If it's upwind, let me hug you one last time. The person above is heaven-defying. Simply too brilliant. I feel very comfortable seeing a lord who has gone mad. Chapter 202 King of the Tree Core Gem. Little Sky Formation Sex Jing Hongzi. Dragon Spine Plain. The territory of the Dragon Lady Lord. The Dragon Lady could not help but clench her fists and grit her teeth when she heard the announcement by the channel. Just a little more. I would have been able to take down the 5th Black Iron Tier region territory tomorrow. I would have been able to appear on the Lord announcement then. I didn't expect the Lord of the Blazing Sun to intercept me again. She was a little crazy and helpless. Actually, she had a guess about the next Lord announcement. She felt that the content of the next Lord announcement might be obtained by conquering more regional territories. Therefore, She had long begun to conquer the surrounding Black Iron Tier regional territories in order to obtain the largest number of regional territories in a short period of time, in an attempt to obtain the next achievement announced by the entire channel. To be an alliance master of a top-notch Lord Alliance, if she could become the second Lord other than the Lord of the Blazing Sun to obtain the announcement of the entire channel, her reputation among the Cerulean Planet Lords would definitely increase greatly. This would also be very beneficial to her development of the Lord Alliance in the future. However, she never expected that, even under such circumstances, the Lord of the Blazing Sun had appeared on the entire channel's announcement before her again. She watched all her efforts and hard work turn into water. She was naturally very depressed. Then, the Dragon Lady Lord took a deep breath and opened the exchange. She felt a little comforted when she saw the more than 100 Master Servant territory contracts. With these Master Servant territory contracts, she could change from being the leader of the Dragon Blood Alliance in the World Channel to the true leader of the Dragon Blood Alliance in reality. When the time comes, with the help of countless other Cerulean Planet Lord allies, she felt that she was still confident in catching up to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. The territory of the Night Lord. The Night Lord listened to the announcement of the World Channel with a dark expression. He had been in a bad mood recently. Originally, he thought that his reputation among his race would increase greatly after he reached the top of the Lord battlefield of your race. Unexpectedly, not only did the Cerulean Planet Lords not flatter him when they found out, they also scolded him for being a petty lord who was passionate about internal strife and consumed the resurrection tokens and rebirth tokens from the Cerulean Planet Lords. Other than that, there was another important reason why they scolded him. Lord of the Blazing Sun, Dragon God Lord, Insect Lord, Overlord Lord, Dragon Lady Lord. Top-notch lords like them did not participate in the Lord battlefield of your race at all. Instead, they had been participating in the myriad race lord battlefields and carrying out foreign race battles. In comparison, his image plummeted. From then on, the Night Lord had always been very unhappy with these top-notch lords. He was even more unhappy now that he saw the Lord of the Blazing Sun appear on the entire channel's announcement again. If only I can take this guy down, he thought hatefully. Then, he thought of something and was suddenly stunned.
He thought about it.
The Night Lord immediately opened the exchange and saw the results of his latest transaction. Those were 54 Master Servant territory contracts. Most of them were Black Iron Tier, and a small portion were Green Bronze Tier. Perhaps I can really take down that fellow, Blazing Sun. When the time comes, everything he has will be mine. I will be the new Lord of the Blazing Sun. The Night Lord looked at these Master Servant territory contracts with fanatical excitement on his face. At the same time, the other top Cerulean Planet Lords were also very shocked that Zhou had conquered so many regional territories. At the same time, they became even more afraid of him. However, they all believed that they would definitely be able to surpass Zhou in the future. This was because they felt that the Lord of the Blazing Sun wouldn't be able to go far without forming an alliance. Blazing Sun City. Zhou watched the flattery on the World Channel for a while before closing it in satisfaction. Then he opened his territories column. Regional Territory, Blazing Sun Desert, Black Iron Tier, Sand Gold Land, Black Iron Tier, Silent Wasteland, Thorn Dune, Withered Forest Plain, White Silver Tier. So more regional territories will also trigger the World Channel's Lord announcement. This time, there are 5 regional territories. How many would I need the next time? 10. Zhou pondered. If that was the case, he had to hurry up and capture more regional territories. With his current strength, he naturally wanted them all. Even though he was a little greedy, however, it was understandable for the Lord. Then he opened the regional treasure chest in the Withered Forest Plains. He saw a 7-colored gem inside. Zhou looked at it. A text notification appeared. Treasure name, King of Tree Heart Gem. Treasure grade, Special. Treasure effect, it can make the equipment's usage level requirement -1 after embedding it into an equipment below mythical tier. Treasure description, a top-grade gem among the tree core gems. a top-grade treasure that can only be chanced upon by luck. My good lord, Zhou clicked his tongue. It could allow equipment below mythical tier to have a level requirement of -1, which meant it was useful for legendary tier equipment. Is this really something that can be obtained from a white silver tier area box? Zhou sighed. Then, he put it away as if it was a treasure. This thing might be very useful in the future. Then, he looked at the supreme treasure chest. After Zhou opened it, he realized that it was a white platinum tier advanced grade Array Master Recruitment Book. Item name, Array Master Recruitment Book. Item level, white platinum tier advanced grade. Item effect, Advanced Life Profession Recruitment Book. Throw it into the Gate of Summoning, and you can summon a white platinum tier advanced grade Array Master with diamond tier advanced grade potential to become your subject. Item description, as a product of the Supreme Treasure Chest. It must be a high-quality item. It's actually a white platinum tier advanced grade Array Master with diamond tier advanced grade potential? Zhou was a little surprised. This ability and potential were already comparable to a talent attracted by reputation rating. However, why would the Supreme Treasure Chest give him such a reward? Logically speaking, the rewards given by the Supreme Treasure Chest were all what the Lord needed. However, he did not seem to have much need for Array Masters. Could it be? Zhou suddenly had a guess. Thinking of this, he immediately walked out of the Lord's residence and came to the Gate of Summoning. Then, he threw this Array Master Recruitment Book in.
Soon,
a young man in white walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord. The young man said respectfully. Jing Hongzi? Zhou was stunned. He opened his attribute panel and looked at it. Subject, Jing Hongzi. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Life profession name, Array Master, space. Class, white platinum tier advanced grade. Battle class name, Chi Practitioner. Strength level, late stage golden core realm. Ability overview, an Array Master from the immortal world's Little Sky Formation sect. He is one of the elders of the sect and has extraordinary attainments in array formations and strength. Skills, white platinum tier advanced grade spatial transmission array, white platinum tier intermediate grade 5 elements reversal array, white platinum tier elementary grade spirit gathering array, yellow gold tier advanced grade light splitting shadow sword array, yellow gold tier intermediate grade small thousand sword array, incomplete, yellow gold tier elementary grade sword control technique, yellow gold tier elementary grade giant sword technique, loyalty, 89, potential, diamond, tier advanced grade, Chi Practitioner? Zhou raised his eyebrows. Chapter 203 Green Bronze Tier, Return to the City. Zhou looked at Jing Hongzi in surprise. In the past, he had learned that there were also Chi practitioners on the High Continent, a profession in the legends of the Cerulean planet. This was the first time he had seen one in reality. A smile immediately appeared on his face when he saw the other party's skill list. If this Chi practitioner knew these abilities, then the Supreme Treasure Chest had indeed given him what he wanted. Jing Hongzi, tell me more about your ability. Zhou said to Jing Hongzi. Yes, my lord. Jing Hongzi said respectfully. Then he began to talk about his various abilities. A moment later, Jing Hongzi finished his explanation. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. It was just as he thought. The formation that he was best at was almost the same as the spatial teleportation array given by the territory contract, or even stronger. The white platinum tier advanced grade spatial teleportation array that Jing Hongzi was good at could transport 50,000 living beings or supplies at once, far exceeding the 1,000 units of living beings and 1,000 units of supplies contracted by the Master Servant Territory contract. Moreover, it could build teleportation arrays in many places, and these teleportation arrays could teleport through each other. This was much stronger than a territorial contract that could only teleport people bidirectional. The only flaw was that its teleportation distance was only 30,000 kilometers. After exceeding 30,000 kilometers, he needed to build another teleportation array and connect it to the previous spatial teleportation array to continue extending the teleportation distance. It was not like the spatial teleportation array contracted by the territory with unlimited spatial teleportation distance. However, this flaw was naturally not a big deal. He only had to build a few more spatial teleportation arrays. Zhou was really looking forward to it. With an array master like Jing Hongzi, who could create spatial teleportation arrays on his own, he would not have to waste time on the road when he led the army in the future. Moreover, being able to create a spatial teleportation array on his own would make it more convenient for him to provide support between his subordinate territory and his subsidiary territory in the future. In the future, every time you conquer a new territory, build a spatial teleportation array on it. Let's build one in Sand Gold City first.
Zhou thought.
Sand Gold City was one of the only 2 cities under his command. Moreover, it was a business city that he had carefully prepared. He naturally had to take care of that place first. Then, Zhou asked the other party for a list of materials to make a spatial teleportation array and the approximate cost. This included the list of materials and the approximate cost of all the spatial teleportation arrays from Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade to White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. This was because his territory was not big at the moment. It was not far from one regional territory to another. For example, from Blazing Sun City to Sand Gold City. If he took the commercial road, it would only be 6 to 70 kilometers. A Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade spatial teleportation array that could teleport 100 kilometers was enough to satisfy the teleportation needs between the 2 places. Blazing Sun City to the furthest withered forest plains was about 3,400 kilometers away. A Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade spatial teleportation array that could teleport 500 kilometers could also satisfy the teleportation needs of both places. So for now, he did not even need a spatial teleportation array at the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade for the time being. The cost was too high after all. As for the problem of teleporting fewer living beings and resources at once, it was also very easy to resolve. He would just teleport a few more times. In any case, he had plenty of mist cores. Then, Zhou opened the exchange and set up a transaction to buy the materials to make these spatial teleportation arrays. He placed 1,000 gold tier mist cores on it. He stopped after putting it on. He did not have many regional territories at the moment, therefore, he did not need to buy too many materials for the spatial teleportation array. After doing this, he closed the exchange and took out all his current Lord Talent Crystal fragments. There were a total of 74 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments, 98 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments, 3 Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments, 6 White Platinum Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments, 2 Legendary Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. Zhou looked at these Lord Talent Crystal fragments with a hesitant expression. His original idea was to use these talent fragments to upgrade the Lord's Blessing, War Master God's Blessing. However, this Lord Talent had already advanced to the White Silver Tier. If he wanted to advance again, he needed a Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. However, a Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal represented a total of 1,000 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. This was too far for his current reserves. It was better to wait for 10 Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. Then he'll use these 98 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. It would be a waste not to use it, Zhou thought. Then, he looked at the Lord Talent Crystal fragments. Upgrading the Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent, Rebel or Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent, Gnome Alchemy Workshop requires 100 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. I can't level it up for the time being. However, the remaining Black Iron Tier Lord Talent, Return to the City, can be upgraded. There are only 10 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments. Thinking of this, he took out 10 of the 98 Lord Talent Crystal fragments and placed them together. Zhou looked at them. Soon, a line of golden text quietly appeared. 10 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments discovered. Do you want to fuse them into 1 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal? Yes, Zhou said. The next second, A bronze light flashed. Then, a familiar hexagonal green bronze crystal appeared in front of him. It was the green bronze tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. Zhou directly chose to advance to the Lord Talent. Do you agree to upgrade your only black iron tier Lord Talent? Return to the city by default. Yes, he said. Lord Talent has been chosen. Upgrading in progress. The next second, a familiar warm feeling came from between his eyebrows. A moment later, the warmth faded. A new text notification appeared. Lord Talent upgrade successful. Congratulations, your black iron tier Lord Talent, return to the city, has been upgraded to green bronze tier Lord Talent, return to the city. The following effect have been upgraded to green bronze tier Lord Talent, return to the city, return to the city. No matter where you are, you will immediately return to your territory and recover 50% of your physical state in the next 10 seconds when you chant the designated password for 5 seconds. You can also specify 100 living beings or 100 units of supplies to return to your territory together. If the designated person is a living being, he will recover 20% of his physical state in the next hour. Lord Talent hint. This talent can be activated twice a day. Zhou raised his eyebrows. Chapter 204 Upgrading Territory. Upgrading the Gate of Summoning. I can actually bring people and supplies back with me, and the number of times I can return has increased to twice a day. Zhou acknowledged. He was quite satisfied with this improvement. In the future, if there were seriously injured people in the team during war and the accompanying doctor could not treat them or deal with them urgently, he could bring the seriously injured people back to the city first and think of a way. Or perhaps when there were too many loots, especially when there were important loots. He could also bring these loots back to the city first to avoid losing them through any accidents from happening on the way. Zhou had not thought of other uses for it yet. However, he would think of it after using it for some time in the future. After that, he brought the Elias sisters out of the Lord's residence and looked at this building. Soon, a line of text appeared. Do you want to upgrade the Lord's residence? Yes, he said. The next second, 400,000 units of basic materials, 100 white silver tier mist cores, 10 origin crystals, and 1 white silver tier territory token disappeared from the territory warehouse. Boom. A golden light immediately covered the entire Lord's residence. A moment later, the golden light dissipated. Zhou looked over. At this moment, not only was the Lord's residence twice as large as before, but it also looked even more solemn and imposing. Rows of golden text notifications appeared. Congratulations, your Lord's residence has been upgraded to a white silver tier intermediate grade building. There is an additional quiet room. Your territory has been upgraded to white silver tier intermediate grade. Territory token durability increased to 500,000/500,000. Your territory has expanded to 50,000 m times 50,000 m times 10,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, basic building blueprint treasure chest, white silver tier intermediate grade. Lord Talent hint. The upper limit of the enemy lord's power that you can instigate to defect has been increased to diamond tier intermediate grade. Lord Talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. A white silver tier intermediate grade territory. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. This level had gotten him stuck for 2 to 3 days. It has finally been upgraded now. Then, he looked at the silver treasure chest that had appeared out of thin air in front of him. It was the basic construction blueprint treasure chest for the upgrade reward. In the past, I was rewarded with a single blueprint. It's changed to a treasure chest now. Zhou was a little surprised. Then he opened the treasure chest. He realized that there were many building blueprints inside. He made a rough count. There were a total of 20 blueprints. Each of these blueprints was different. This included blueprints for a blacksmith shop, tailor shop, carpenter shop, grocery store, medical center, warehouse, and many other basic buildings. Moreover, they were all white silver tier intermediate grade. These building blueprints might be useful to the other lords, but it's not very useful for my territory. Zhou shook his head. There were many white silver tier architects in his territory. Every architect in his territory had basically dabbled in these basic architectural skills that architects had to master. The difference was just how much they had dabbled in. Therefore, these white silver tier intermediate grade basic building blueprints were really not of much use to him. However, it was not all lost. For example, letting the territory's white silver tier intermediate grade architect master a few more white silver tier intermediate grade basic building skills. Or he could reward the territory's white silver tier elementary grade architects to learn these white silver tier intermediate grade architectural blueprints. As long as he learned even one successfully, he could create a white silver tier intermediate grade architect. Thinking of this, Zhou put away these blueprints and prepared to hand them to Elder Jing tomorrow so that he could distribute them. Then, he looked at the upgrade requirements for the next level of the Lord's residence. Construction upgrade: 300,000 units of wood, 300,000 units of fine sand, 300,000 units of metal, 300,000 units of stone, 500 units of white silver tier mist core, 20 origin crystals, 2 white silver tier territory tokens. I have the basic materials, mist cores, and origin crystals. I can upgrade again as long as I obtain another white silver tier territory token. Zhou's eyes were filled with excitement.
This was too simple for him.
He would conquer another white silver tier Scarlet Lord's territory tomorrow. Then he stopped thinking about it and went to the Gate of Summoning to upgrade it. As 60,000 units of basic materials and 200 white silver tier mist cores disappeared, the Gate of Summoning had successfully advanced to the white silver tier intermediate grade. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has been upgraded to a white silver tier intermediate grade building. You can summon plus 10 subjects every day. You will definitely summon 9 professionals every day. Prompt: under the influence of the race's unique title, Glory of the Pioneer 2, you can summon 219 subjects a day. You will definitely summon 12 professionals every day. And the professional levels of 3 of them will be the same as your territory level. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The effect of the Glory of the Pioneer 2 was still powerful. Without it, he could only summon a maximum of 73 new subjects a day, and among these subjects, there could only be 9 professionals. With the enhancement of the Glory of the Pioneer 2 title, it directly tripled. There were also 3 more professionals. The improvement was not small. Moreover, the effect of this title would only become stronger and stronger as his territory increased. I have to hurry up and increase the level of my territory. I can only continue to obtain the Glory of the Pioneer 3 title by becoming the first lord to raise my territory to the yellow gold tier elementary grade. Zhou also felt a sense of urgency apart from being happy. With the appearance of the Master Servant Territory contract and the spatial teleportation array, the advantage of the Lord's alliance would gradually be revealed. And, as time passed, the advantage of the Lord's alliance would only increase. In the past, he could also use his advantage of being a step faster to obtain the unique quality title of this race earlier. Now that the alliance was starting to take effect, it was very likely that he would be overtaken by another lord and obtain the unique title of the race if he didn't hurry up. They would only get the Glory of the Pioneer I and not the Glory of the Pioneer 3, but that was not what Zhou wanted to see. He really wanted to see what the effect of the final title would be like if he could continue getting this title in succession. Then, Zhou looked at the requirements for the next level of the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade: 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of fine sand, 50,000 units of metal, 50,000 units of stone, 1,000 units of white silver tier mist core, territory level upgraded to white silver tier advanced grade. He looked away. These materials were nothing to him. The upgrade of the Gate of Summoning was as easy as ever. Then, Zhou took out 3,036 Aurora Cavalry recruitment books. Among them were naturally the 10 white platinum tier advanced grade Aurora Cavalry recruitment books. Then, he threw all these recruitment books into the Gate of Summoning. Chapter 205 Aurora Cavalry. The First Gem Artisan. Soon, the first Aurora Knight led a white horse with faint golden spots and walked out of the door. Zhang he greets, my lord. He knelt respectfully.
Rise.
Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou smiled and said this familiar sentence. He observed him. He was wearing bright white and golden cavalry armor. A 3-meter-long Aurora spear hung on his back. His face was firm and his figure was tall. He looked like an elite soldier. Zhou opened his attribute panel. Subject, Zhang He. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Soldier class name, Aurora Cavalry. Skill level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview, former subject of the Aurora Kingdom. His father was a vice-captain of the Aurora Kingdom's Aurora Cavalry Legion. After he died on the battlefield, as his only son, Zhang he naturally obtained the inheritance of the intermediate-level soldier profession left behind by his father. Not long after, he chose to inherit his father's ambition and became a new Aurora Cavalry. Skills, talent, power of Aurora, gradeless horsemanship, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Spear Technique, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Summoning Aurora Warhorse, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Shock, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Physique, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Fearless Charge, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Tenacious Will, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Strong Body. Loyalty, 85. Potential, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou nodded slightly. The skill panel was not bad. In the time that followed, 10 Aurora Cavalry, with White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade potential walked out first. Another half an hour passed. The remaining 3,026 Aurora Cavalry also walked out of the Gate of Summoning. I have 21,564 soldiers under my command now. Including these 3,036 new Aurora Cavalry, I have a total of 24,600 soldiers under my command now. Zhou was quite satisfied. His monster ranch had been upgraded again. In the future, the number of recruitment books produced every day would increase. He believed that it would not take more than a day or two for the number of soldiers under his command to break through to 30,000. Then, Zhou looked at the 28,741 class change certificates in his spatial ring and fell into deep thought. I can't waste so many intermediate grade class change certificates. Tomorrow, I'll get Elderzhum to issue a recruitment order in the territory. Let the unemployed subjects use these class change certificates. Let the unemployed subjects use these class change certificates. I believe those beginner soldier-type cavalrymen will be interested. It's a pity that sword-shield soldiers and Pudeo soldiers can't use these class change certificates. Otherwise, I'll let them use it. Zhou thought ruefully. The class change certificate could only change classes between the same type of profession. For example, when Bai Yun was still an archer, she could use the poison crossbow soldier class change certificate to change her profession. Archers and poison crossbowmen were different professions, but they were both long-range soldiers and had a certain profession similarity. However, if the difference in professions was too great and the profession similarity was too low, they could not change professions. For example, sword-shield soldiers could not change their profession to archers. The Aurora Cavalry could not be changed to Star Musketeers. However, it was said that there was an item called the Formless Stone in the world. It could wash away the original profession of a professional and turn them into a jobless person. This way, he could choose any profession again. However, Zhou had only heard of this before, not to mention possessing it. Then, he asked the Aurora Cavalry to look for Bai Yun while he returned to the Lord's residence. After returning, he first went to the newly added mansion building, the Quiet Room. This was a relatively spacious room. There was a futon in the middle of the room. In front of the futon was a small incense burner. At this moment, a faint fragrance came from inside, making people relax. It's a good place to cultivate and think. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. Then, he returned to his room, prepared to sleep. Wu Tu did not report the latest map drawing results to him today, probably because he had yet to finish mapping out the territory he was exploring. Wu Tu had a bold idea previously. He planned to use the Mechanostriders to lead the Heavenly Army to explore further places. Then, he would find the borders of the other kingdom-level forces near Blazing Sun City and draw a larger map. That way, he could understand the kingdom-level forces around him and their border location. This was naturally a good thing for Zhou and his territory, therefore. Zhou readily agreed to his idea. He probably wouldn't be able to see Wu Tu for the next few days if Wu Tu wanted to complete his goal. After Zhou confirmed that he had not forgotten anything, he lay on the bed and fell asleep after a while. The next day, in the master bedroom, on a big bed, Zhou opened his eyes sleepily. He only completely awakened after a long while. Today is the third day of the Myriad Races Lord battlefield. Thinking of this, he stopped sleeping in and immediately got up. Then he refused the service of the Elias sisters. After washing up, he walked out of the Lord's residence and walked towards the Gate of Summoning. In front of the Gate of Summoning, Zhou looked at the door.
Soon.
A text notification appeared. Prompt: do you want to summon immediately? Yes,
He said.
The next second, the Gate of Summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then, the subjects walked out one after another. After a while, all 219 new subjects walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord. X219. The 219 new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City,
Zhou said.
Then, he asked all the professionals to stand out and realized that he had summoned a total of 12 professionals. Seeing this, Zhou began to check their interface information. A moment later, the inspection was completed. Among the 12 professionals, there was a white silver tier intermediate grade gem artisan, a white silver tier intermediate grade musketeer, and a white silver tier intermediate grade crossbowman. There was also one white silver tier elementary grade chef, 2 green bronze tier advanced grade farmers, 1 green bronze tier elementary grade blacksmith, 3 black iron tier advanced grade carpenters, 1 black iron tier intermediate grade doctor, and 1 black iron tier elementary grade sword shield soldier. Zhou was a little happy. This time, he had actually summoned 2 white silver tier intermediate grade elementary grade soldier professionals. Bai Yun was only at white silver tier advanced grade. It was the first time he had seen a professional such as a gem artisan. Zhou looked at him. He was a young man in his 20s. There was a faint smile and melancholy buried deep in his eyes. He seemed to be someone with a story, Zhou thought. Then he opened his attribute panel. Subject: Jia Baosher, Territory, Blazing Sun City, Life Profession, Gem Artisan, Profession Level, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability Overview: Jia Baosher, who has inherited his grandfather's gem craftsmanship since he was young. He is determined to get his hands on a top-notch gem from the high continent when he grows up. Even touching it is fine, but war has made him suddenly realize that the heart that yearns for peace. Peace is the most dazzling gem in the world. Skills: White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Appreciation, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Polishing, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Buffing, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Carving, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Embedding, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Gem Packaging. Loyalty: 80. Potential: Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. When Zhou saw the gem embedding skill in the other party's skill bar, his eyes lit up. His tree heart gem seemed to be finally usable. Chapter 206: Upgrade of the Mysterious Caravan. 7 Monster Ranches. Zhou called Jia Baosher to him. Then, he took out a white platinum tier advanced grade tree core gem and the white platinum tier advanced grade soul devouring spear that dropped from the boss of the undead knights. Jia Baosher, can you use this tree core gem to lower the level requirement of this gun? It's best if it can be lowered to yellow gold tier advanced grade. What kind of name is this? Is this name not in conflict with his own life profession one? Zhou might look calm on the surface, but he could not help but complain in his heart. Jia Baosher naturally did not know what Zhou was thinking. His heart skipped a beat when he saw the tree core gem and the soul-devouring spear in Zhou's hands. With his white silver tier intermediate grade gem artisan knowledge, he immediately determined that these two items were top-grade treasures. My lord, may I take a look? Jia Baosher looked at Zhou carefully. Don't be reserved. Zhou comforted him. Then he handed the two items to the other party. Jia Baosher took it excitedly and looked at it carefully. Soon, he returned them to Zhou regretfully. My apologies, my lord. I need at least a white platinum tier advanced grade gem artisan to personally open the holes and embed the gems if I wanted to grade this white platinum tier advanced grade equipment to yellow gold tier advanced grade. Am not good enough. At the moment, I can only punch holes and embed gems in white silver tier intermediate grade equipment. In addition, my lord, you said that it can be used if you want to reduce it to an advanced yellow gold tier expert. Then we have to prepare at least 3 white platinum tier advanced grade tree core gems. Otherwise, it wouldn't work,
Jia Baosher said.
I see. Zhou was not too disappointed. He really did not expect a white silver tier intermediate grade gem artisan to do such a thing. The reason why he specially asked was just asking because he did not know anything about this profession. He did not think too much about it since he got his answer now. It's just a pity for this soul-devouring spear. Zhou looked at the white platinum tier advanced grade soul-devouring spear regretfully. The soul-devouring deathmatch equipment of this soul-devouring spear was extremely effective. He really wanted to lower the level requirement and hand it to Elder Wu, the Dragon Horse Spear General Hero, to use. At that time, he would definitely be able to shine in the hands of Elder Wu. He could only wait for a while. That's not right. There might be a white platinum tier advanced grade gem artisan in the Aurora Kingdom. You can take a look when you have time. At that time, Elder Wu might even be able to use this spear. Zhou suddenly thought of this, and hope reignited in his heart. Then he asked these subjects to look for Elder Zheng and let him arrange their residence and work. As for this gem artisan, Zhou specially asked him to look for Elder Zhao again. He remembered that there was a building called the Gem Workshop in Elder Zhao's skill list. It should be Jia Baoshi's life class building. He could get Elder Zhao to build one for Jia Baosher. This way, if anyone in his territory wanted to use equipment above their level in the future, they could ask the other party for help. Everyone left. At this moment, Zheng Fuguwei quickly walked over. Greetings, my lord. Last night, I suddenly sensed that there were more companions in the mysterious caravan. At the same time, our mysterious vendor level and mysterious caravan skill have also increased from white silver tier elementary grade to white silver tier intermediate grade. After finding out the specific upgrade last night, I didn't disturb you because it was too late. Now, I want to report to you, he said respectfully. Tell me. Zhou was not surprised. The mysterious caravan was naturally strengthened again because of the upgrade of his territory. Yes. After I investigated, other than the increase in the level of our mysterious merchant, the number of our caravan has increased from 28 to 50 today. In addition, our carriages have increased from 18 to 30 now. With this improvement in the future, we can go further away and trade for more rare goods. Zheng Fuguwei had a smile on his face. As a mysterious merchant, trading all kinds of rare goods was almost an instinct and hobby engraved in their bones. Now that he saw the upgrade of the mysterious caravan, it would be easier for them to trade various rare goods in the future. He was naturally very happy. Zhou nodded slightly. Then he thought for a moment and said, Today you will do as we said last night. Wait for me in the territory. After I deal with my matters, I'll go to the kingdom of the undead with you. Yes, my lord, Zheng Fuguwei said respectfully. Then, the two of them did not talk much and left. After seeing Zheng Fuguwei leave, Zhou left Blazing Sun City and arrived at the city gate. He had just arrived, and he already saw Bai Yun and Wu Xian standing there neatly after reorganizing the Blazing Sun Army. Nazario and Soul Reaper Maris were also standing not far away. "Greetings, my lord," Bai Yun and Wu Xian said respectfully.
Zhou acknowledged.
"Let's go straight to the monster ranch,"
he said.
"Yes." X2 After the two of them finished speaking, Wu Xian used his hero skill, Desired Military Morale, to order the entire army to advance towards the monster ranch. Zhou and Bai Yi walked beside him. He looked at Bai Yun's side profile and realized that she was looking at the neat Blazing Sun army soldiers with envy in her eyes. Zhou's eyes flickered before he smiled. He knew what she was envious of. She was envious of Wu Xin's Desired Military Morale hero skills. However, it was understandable. This hero skill was indeed top-notch. The hero skill, Desired Military Morale, was just as its name indicated. The effect was to control the morale of the army at will. He could even communicate mental communication with every soldier in the army from afar and truly do as he was told. The thoughts of the general were the thoughts of every soldier under his command. This was a hero skill that could command the entire army. Every general yearned for it without a doubt. It was normal for Bai Yun to be envious. Zhou did not say anything else. Heroic skills were not unique. If he satisfied a certain condition, he could learn it even without a skill book. However, it was extraordinarily difficult to do this. If Bai Yun wanted to possess the hero skill, Desired Military Morale, it would depend on her own hard work and talent. Soon, everyone arrived at the monster ranch's "Greetings, my lord." Mu Gu and Zhao Chongshou, who had been waiting at the entrance of the ranch, immediately said respectfully when they saw Zhou bring people over. "Elder Zhao, Mu Gu, has the monster ranches been upgraded?" Zhou nodded and asked. "Reporting to my lord. Brother Mu Gu and I have already upgraded the original 7 monster ranches from White Silver Tier Elementary Grade to White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade overnight. In addition, we also built the 8th monster ranch. It has also been upgraded to the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. A total of 800,000 units of basic materials for 1,000 White Silver Tier Mist Cores and 1 Origin Crystal." Zhao Chongshou said respectfully. "Thank you for your hard work." Zhou nodded slightly. This consumption of resources was naturally nothing to him. Then he looked at the monster ranch in front of him. The area of the 8 monster ranches in front of him had doubled again. Other than the last monster ranch being empty, there were countless monsters in the remaining 7 monster ranches. He could not even see the end at a glance. Desert Fog Lizard, Black-tailed Fog Scorpion, Sandman, Sand Corpse Summoners, Wild Sand Believers, Undead Knights, Withered Tree. The 7 monsters lived in their respective ranch areas, looking very docile and harmonious. "Mu Gu, how many ranch monsters have you nurtured?" Zhou clicked his tongue. Chapter 207 Tens of thousands of soldier-type recruitment books. Double happiness. Reporting to my lord. After I advanced to the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade, the number of monster ranches I can manage has reached 8. The maximum capacity of each monster ranch has increased from 1,500 to 2,000. The upper limit of the monsters I can nurture has also increased to the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. I've always nurtured it according to its maximum capacity. Therefore, there are a total of 14,000 monsters in the 7 monster ranches. Mu Gu said respectfully. Zhou looked at the endless ranch monsters as he listened to him. He felt a little emotional. 14,000 monsters. If someone who didn't know better came over to take a look, they would probably think that his territory had been occupied by monsters. Then he did not think too much about it. Instead, he came to the monster ranch of the Undead Knights. This was because he realized that the monsters here seemed to be different. Reporting to my lord, the monster ranch of the Undead Knights is special. Maybe it's because their soldier types are relatively high level. Therefore, The weakest of these 2,000 undead knights is at the green bronze tier elementary grade. Mugu followed over and said. Zhou raised his eyebrows and nodded. This was the same situation as when they attacked these undead knights yesterday. At that time, the strength of these undead knights was at least at the bronze tier elementary grade. Then, he looked at the green bronze tier elementary grade undead knights. Monster name, Undead Knight. Strength level, green bronze tier elementary grade. Monster description. A monster nurtured by the Monster Ranch. It is good at controlling the power of death. Occasionally, it will recall that it was an Aurora cavalry previously. Loot's drop rate. 2 green bronze tier mist cores drop rate. 100%. 1 gradeless skill book, Horsemanship drop rate. 20%. 1 green bronze tier elementary grade equipment, Aurora Spear drop rate. 10%. 1 true faith tier scarlet crystal drop rate. 3%. 1 green bronze tier elementary grade skill book, Aurora Spear Technique, drop rate, 2%. 4 gradeless Aurora Cavalry Class Change Certificates, drop rate, 1%. 1 green bronze tier elementary grade Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books. Drop rate, 1%. Zhou's gaze landed on the scarlet crystals and the loots. True faith tier scarlet crystals. Are scarlet crystals also divided into shallow faith tier, true faith tier, and pious tier? He was a little surprised and seemed to have understood something. Could these scarlet crystals also be treasures similar to the faith divine crystal? If the faith divine crystal was a faith-type treasure condensed from the faith of life forms towards the god spirits under the supreme will, could the scarlet crystals be faith-type treasures condensed from the fog monster's faith in the supreme will? No wonder the shelter could transform scarlet crystals into faith divine crystals. Zhou thought for a while before looking at the other monsters. In the end, he realized that every monster had 1 scarlet crystal in their bodies. However, the quality of the scarlet crystals was different. Most of the scarlet crystals were still at the shallow faith tier and true faith tier. A small number of them were true faith tier scarlet crystals. Occasionally, he would see a pious tier scarlet crystal. Zhou did not see any fanatic tier and Holy Spirit tier scarlet crystals. The quality of the scarlet crystals seemed to be related to strength. The stronger the monster, the higher the quality of the scarlet crystals condensed in its body. The weaker the monster, the lower the quality of the scarlet crystals. However, even though he did not see any fanatic tier or Holy Spirit scarlet crystals, Zhou was also quite satisfied. Just the Monster Ranch alone could provide him with 14,000 faith divine crystals a day. Looking at it this way, the shelter services in the shelter did not seem so expensive anymore. He might be able to visit the god of death, Thanatos, when he had the time. On the surface, the shelter of the goddess of life looks like a white platinum tier lord talent. But under the influence of my king of loots, the effect it can unleash is probably comparable to an epic tier lord talent. Zhou was quite satisfied. He had also realized it. Any lord talent that was related to loots, no matter how low its original level or how weak its talent effect was, under the influence of his mythical tier lord talent, the king of loots, it could always unleash an effect that far exceeded the original lord talent level. This was the case for the gnome alchemy workshop. The shelter of the goddess of life was the same. I can specially gather information about lord talents in the future. Zhou pondered as he asked Nazario to use his dragon might to control the monsters in the 7 monster ranches. Then he asked the soldiers to deal with them one by one. Half an hour later, all 14,000 ranch monsters were dealt with. Then, he led his troops to clean up the time ruins again. Then he took out all the Conqueror's blast furnaces to retrieve the loot of these corpses. It took another half an hour for all the loots to be extracted. Under the effect of the perfect loots, other than the +1 quality monster flesh, skill books, potion formulas, equipment, materials, fire demon fog wolf outfits, and other items, he obtained a total of 55,154 green bronze tier mist cores, 25,144 white silver tier mist cores, and 2,447 yellow gold tier mist cores. 26,457 soldier type class change certificates. 3,001 Sand Corps Summoner class change certificates. 1,624 Sword Shield Soldier recruitment books. 1,451 Pudeo Soldiers recruitment books. 1,531 Poison Crossbow Soldier recruitment books. 384 Elemental Archer recruitment books. 5,471 Aurora Cavalry recruitment books. 10,021 kilograms of light drawing crystal. 2,000 tree core gems. Green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier. 2,000 bottles of plant vitality potion. Green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier. 143,516 kilograms of jade sun tree seed. Green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier. Zhou was stunned when he saw the loots. After confirming it again and again, he was sure that he had really used an entire morning to obtain 10,460 soldier-type recruitment books just by relying on the Monster Ranch. Zhou's face flushed red with excitement. Since he could obtain so many soldier-type recruitment books today, it meant that he would be able to get the same from tomorrow onwards. Which meant, from now on, his territory would have more than 10,000 military professionals every day. Before long, the number of military professionals in his Blazing Sun army might be able to break through the 100,000 mark.
This was not the end.
At this moment, Bai Yun also walked over after counting the number of soldiers who had advanced. "I've something to report, my lord. A total of 10,524 soldiers just broke through. Among them, 6,842 have advanced to the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 3,141 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to the Green Bronze Tier. There are also 541 people who have advanced to the White Silver Tier. There are a total of 17,639 Black Iron Tier soldiers in our army, 5,724 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 1,240 White Silver Tier. In addition, Maris has already broken through to the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Double happiness. This was the only thought in Zhou's mind. There were more than 1,000 White Silver Tier military professionals alone amongst the military professionals under his command. This strength was enough to crush them even when compared to the regional lords of the White Silver Tier regional territories. Chapter 208 50,000 Mist Cores. Begin ranking. Zhou was very happy. Every time his territory and the Monster Ranch upgraded, it could greatly increase his strength and development speed. He began to think. Looking at it this way, he already had as many as 10 Lord Talents currently. However, the 3 Lord Talents that could increase his strength the most were King of Loots, Mythical Tier, plus Monster Ranch, White Silver Tier, plus Blessing of the 10 Gods, Blessing of the War God, White Silver Tier. These 3 Lord Talents were like a perfect combination. Together, they could erupt with an extremely high territorial development ability. I think I can upgrade the Monster Ranch too. It should be good, Zhou thought. Then, he could not help but smile bitterly. He seemed to have too many Lord Talents that he wanted to upgrade. Zhou sighed. Then, he stopped thinking about it and opened the exchange to set up a transaction. He threw in 20,000 basic soldier class change certificates, excess materials, skill books, equipment, and other items. Then, he directly announced the transaction. The Lord on the World channel quickly discovered Zhou's deal. Then, they were shocked. Fuck, why did Big Boss Blazing Sun suddenly sell so many soldier class change certificates today? It's good to have more. There won't be so much pressure to buy them. I'll hug Big Boss Blazing Sun's thigh. I can finally buy Big Boss Blazing Sun's soldier class change certificate again. Every day, I refresh Big Boss Blazing Sun's transactions at the same time. It's very similar to when I used to wait on time to snatch takeaway rolls. Like when I snatched the train ticket. The sudden increase in the number of soldier class change certificates not only attracted the attention of ordinary lords, Overlord Lord, Dragon Lady Lord, Undead Lord. These top-notch lords also noticed. They quickly realized something from the transaction with the Lord of the Blazing Sun. The Lord of the Blazing Sun had probably become stronger again. Otherwise, why would he take out so many good things to sell? What would a lord usually sell? Other than the merchant-type lords who specially created goods to trade, most lords typically sold goods they did not need. And the Lord of the Blazing Sun style of doing things did not seem like that of a businessman. That could only prove that these goods were unnecessary to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. That was why the other party took it out to sell. Thinking of this, the lords could not help but be speechless. It was something that others abandoned, yet it was actually very tempting to them. Was this the difference between the Lord of the Blazing Sun and them? Zhou did not look at the World Channel, so he naturally did not think too much about the Lord's reactions to his deal. After posting the deal, he closed the exchange interface. Then, he went to the Golem Nest and recruited 126 golems today. Then, he brought all the soldier recruitment books to the Gate of Summoning and threw them in. Soon, Black Iron Tier elementary grade professionals walked out one after another. Half an hour later, Zhou realized that the deal he had just announced had been completed just as more than 6,000 professionals walked out. He looked at the transaction results. Trade result: 58,112,441 Black Iron Tier missed cores. Zhou clicked his tongue. He had only sold more than 18 million Black Iron Tier missed cores when he sold the loots from the Monster Ranch yesterday. Today, it has increased by 3 times. However, he had already thought about it, so he was not surprised by this benefit. Yesterday, he had only sold more than 6,000 basic soldier class change certificates and the corresponding loots from other monster ranches. Other than Black Iron Tier goods, there were green bronze, white silver, and even yellow gold tier items. This was only the benefit from 5 white silver tier elementary grade monster ranches. Today, the number of monster ranches under his command had reached 7. Each monster ranch had been upgraded to the white silver tier intermediate grade. The value of the loot dropped by the monsters had also increased to the white silver tier intermediate grade. The number of monsters in each monster ranch had also increased from 1,500 to 2,000. Therefore, the overall profit from selling the loots of the ranch had increased by more than 3 times. It was completely within his expectations. However, why did this group of people only use the Black Iron Tier Mist Core to buy things? Zhou could not help but complain in his heart. He felt a little helpless. But there was no choice. Black Iron Tier Mist Cores were the easiest for lords to obtain and have the most number of them. If he forced the lords to use the higher-level Mist Cores to buy his goods, he might not even be able to sell his loot. Moreover, low-level Mist Cores could also be exchanged for high-level ones. Zhou complained a little and stopped caring. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After a while, 10,460 professionals walked out of the Gate of Summoning. The number of professionals I had yesterday was 24,600. In the morning, the Gate of Summoning summoned 3 professionals and 126 golems. Now, with these 10,460 new professions, which means I have 35,189 people. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. With more than 30,000 professionals, he should be able to advance further in the Lord Battlefield. Then, he opened the Lord Battlefield and looked at the Lord Battlefield interface in the upper right corner. Title: Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rank: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Number of rankings tries: 47. Battlefield points: 129. 47 ranking tries. It's time to level up. I shouldn't be far from the highest rank among my kind, Zhou thought. Yesterday, he had queued up with famous lords of the same race. Occasionally, he would even encounter some top-notch undead lords. From this, it could be seen that he had already entered the high-end game among his fellow lords. He should not be far from the lord with the highest rank amongst his race. Thinking of this, He asked Bai Yun and the others to prepare for battle and clicked on the group ranking. A text notification appeared. Matching with your ranking opponent. Match successful. Entering the battlefield. You have entered the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade battlefield, Frost Plains. Your teammates are 1. Cerulean Planet Human Lord, Dragon Lady Lord, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 2. Cerulean Platinum Planet Human Lord, Green Phoenix Lord, White Platinum Tier Advanced Rank. Your opponents are 1. Undead Lord, Black Knight Lord, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 2. Undead Lord Aller Lord, White Platinum Advanced Rank. 3. Undead Lord, Golden Bone Lord, White Platinum Advanced Grade. Condition to defeat the enemy. Kill all the enemy forces within 24 hours. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown 9 minutes, 59 seconds. At the same time, the 3 human lords who had just ascended on the battlefield were stunned. I actually queued the Lord of the Blazing Sun. That's true. It's indeed about time. The Dragon Lady looked up at the tall city wall that was as black as an abyss not far away with a complicated expression. The two of them might have some conflicts and competition. However, at this moment, looking at the light element city wall that was far taller and more majestic than the city wall under her feet, she felt like she was spying on a leopard through a tube. The Dragon Lady had to admit that this guy, whom she had always regarded as her opponent, had indeed far surpassed her in the development of her territory. However, she felt a little better when she thought of the 6 white silver-tier wyverns in her territory. I can't compare to you in the development of the territory, but I might not lose to you in terms of combat strength. She snorted softly and began to deploy without greeting the others. Green Phoenix City. The Green Phoenix Lord clicked her tongue as she looked at the tall pitch-black city wall. Is this the Blazing Sun City of the Lord of the Blazing Sun? How did he build such a tall and magnificent city wall in just 13 days? Could it be that the Lord of the Blazing Sun directly inherited an abandoned city when he came to the High Continent? This city wall is also a little strange. It clearly looks black. Why do I feel that there's abundant light elemental energy inside? The Green Phoenix Lord muttered in her heart. Then, she did not think too much about it and began to make the best use of her time for deployment. On the city wall of Blazing Sun City, Zhou looked down at the cities on both sides of Blazing Sun City. I actually queued them. He raised his eyebrows slightly. Chapter 209 Green Phoenix Lord. White Ghost. Zhou looked at the 2 cities. He saw the Dragon Lady and the Green Phoenix Lord almost immediately. Moreover, he had seen the layout of these 2 cities. The development in both the Green Phoenix City and Dragon Lady City were naturally far inferior to his territory. There were only a few dozen buildings in the city. Moreover, most of them were black iron tier and green bronze tier buildings. They did not look like cities but villages instead. In comparison, his Blazing Sun City was a joint effort of dozens of architects and hundreds of life professions. There were already more than 1,000 buildings in the city, with all kinds of buildings. Moreover, there was no lack of yellow gold or even white platinum tier buildings. These high-level buildings were naturally specially built for high-level lifestyle professionals. However, even though the difference between the two was huge, Zhou did not underestimate these 2 top-notch lords. Is this the Wyvern's Nest? Zhou looked at the black mountain peak that was like a beehive. The Dragon Lady Lord often spoke on the World Channel. She was second only to him in fame among the Cerulean Planet Lords. But in contrast, most of the lords already knew about her lord talent. Photos of the Wyvern Nest had been circulating on the World Channel for a period of time. Zhou had also seen it. Therefore, he could tell immediately. Moreover, the powerful 6 senses from the Chaos human race made him feel a dragon aura similar to Nazario's from this Wyvern Nest. However, even though their auras were similar, they were also very different. If Nazario emitted the pure and dignified aura of a pure-blooded dragon, the dragon aura from this wyvern nest could be said to be quite chaotic. It was more of a wild aura, even though it vaguely revealed a trace of the dragon's pressure. Zhou shook his head. In comparison, he still preferred the dragon aura on Nazario. Then, he looked at Green Phoenix City and could not help but think of the female Green Phoenix Lord. He knew about the Green Phoenix Lord, who was the owner of the epic tier Lord talent, the Green Phoenix Immortal Body. It was said that it came from the immortal realm and had a deep relationship with the legendary immortal Dao civilization. If the Overlord Lord's gluttonous demon body was slightly weak in the early stages, grew rapidly in the middle stages, and would reach the ceiling of his physique in the later stages, then the Green Phoenix Immortal Body was a top-notch physique that was very strong all stages. At this stage, she was even much stronger than the Overlord Lord. However, in the later stages, it would be a level weaker than the gluttonous demon body. Nonetheless, it was still quite extraordinary. From the beginning, this Green Phoenix Lord had completely relied on the advantage of her immortal body to develop her territory rapidly. Be it attacking the territory of the Scarlet Lord or killing, it was all done by this lord herself. Her subordinates were of little use to her and were not much different from cheerleaders. Unlike Zhou, who had won by laying flat, she had also developed to a level that was not much weaker than the Dragon Lady Lord, relying on herself. It could be seen how hard she worked. Then, he did not think too much about it and began to deploy.
Soon.
Bai Yun, Wuxia, Nazario, Soul Reaper Maris, and 30,000 soldiers of the Blazing Sun Legion appeared in Blazing Sun City. When Nazario appeared, the Dragon Lady Lord's heart suddenly trembled, and then she looked in the direction of Blazing Sun City. At this moment, the Dragon Lady Lord felt the wyvern bloodline in her body tremble. She was afraid, but she also yearned and desired for a certain existence in Blazing Sun City. Pure-blooded dragon. The Lord of the Blazing Sun actually has a pure-blooded dragon. She looked in the direction of Blazing Sun City in disbelief. At this moment, she seemed to see a pure-blooded dragon as hot as fire obediently staying beside the Lord of the Blazing Sun while in a daze. She could not help but look at her 6 wyverns. That was indeed the case. The 6 wyverns also looked in the direction of Blazing Sun City with reverence and desire. 2 of the wyverns even flapped their wings uncontrollably, wanting to fly over and throw themselves to it. Seeing this, the Dragon Lady Lord immediately shouted at them to stop. They still looked in the direction of Blazing Sun City from time to time, even though they had become obedient. The Dragon Lady Lord's expression gradually turned ugly. In Blazing Sun City, after Nazario appeared, it immediately sensed something and looked down at the wyvern nest. He looked at it for a few seconds. Surprise flashed across its eyes. Then it looked at Zhou and told him something. You said that the wyvern nest is not simple?
He froze.
Nazario nodded. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, how many epic tier talents are simple? Zhou shook his head. Most lord talents had their own secrets. Therefore, he was not surprised that the wyvern nest was not simple. 10 minutes later. Deployment time has ended. The Lord War has begun. The next second, a large number of golden skeletons, black knights, and white ghosts immediately appeared in the 3 cities opposite. Among them, there were the most golden skeletons, more than 20,000 of them. The white ghosts were secondary, but there were also more than 10,000 of them. Even though there were only about 5,000 black knights, they were wearing excellent equipment and looked clearly extraordinary. As expected of the undead race famous for their numbers. This number, TSK. Let's deal with one each.
How about that?
The Green Phoenix Lord's voice sounded. Her voice was surprisingly pleasant to the ears. Okay. Zhou replied. The Dragon Lady also grunted. Then they did not have to choose. These undead races had already chosen their targets. The Golden Skeleton race attacked the Dragon Lady Lord. The Black Knight attacked the Green Phoenix Lord. The white ghost attacked Zhou. At the same time, the second book of the Myriad Races illustrated book automatically opened, and information about the white ghost appeared on a new page. Zhou took a look. He realized that these white ghosts were advanced from the undead of low-level ghosts. It was equivalent to the beginner soldiers in the Lord's knowledge. Their abilities were similar to ghosts, but they were stronger. They could be immune to most physical attacks and could also carry out soul attacks. They could even grow by absorbing souls. There were also some small abilities. For example, going through walls and intimidating others. Its weakness was its fear of light, holy and other order-type elemental attacks, mental attacks, and soul attacks. Did you choose me because you saw that my city wall was too thick? Because you can walk through walls? Zhou smiled faintly. That was indeed the case. As soon as these ghosts flew in front of his light elemental city wall, they immediately sensed the light element energy contained in the black city wall. They immediately hesitated. Some of the bolder ghosts went forward and wanted to pass through, but their souls were directly burned by the light elements and died with weak cries. Zhou shook his head. His light elemental city wall was a white silver tier city wall defense building after all. These white ghosts below the white silver tier would be courting death if they dared to try to pass through. That was indeed the case. They also realized that they could not barge in, so they flew up and approached the top of the city wall. Zhou grinned when he saw this. Trying to bypass my light elemental city wall? He turned to look at Maris, the Soul Reaper. A smile appeared on Maris' dog face. It sat down cross-legged and placed its hands on the death god's scythe. Then, it closed its eyes. The next second, its soul flew out with the death god's scythe in its hand. Then, it lay on the city wall and looked at the 10,000 white ghosts flying over. The white ghosts were stunned when they saw Maris. These 10,000 white ghosts did not even dare to move at this moment. They were all frozen in midair. When Zhou saw this, he could not help but sigh. This was simply like a lonely ghost encountering the black and white impermanence. It was simply restrained. These white ghosts were beginner soldiers after all. And there were so many of them, but they did not even dare to move. In front of Maris. At this moment, the 10,000 ghosts seemed to have reached an agreement and floated away. Maris grinned. Chikulafad. Undead tongue. Return to the underworld. It muttered softly and flew towards the white ghosts with a sickle in its hand. Chapter 210 Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Is this a high-end leveling booster? When the white ghosts saw Maris rushing towards them, they immediately screamed in fear and ran in all directions. More than 10,000 white ghosts. None of them dared to turn around and call for the other white ghosts to counterattack. All elemental archers, radiant aurora cavalry, star musketeers, water crossbowmen. Let's use long-range elemental attacks to kill these white ghosts. Zhou ordered. 3 of these 4 types of soldiers were long-range. As for the aurora cavalry, they also had their own long-range attacks. Therefore, it was naturally not a problem for them to kill these white ghosts. Yes. The soldiers roared angrily and began to attack. At that time, the ghosts died one after another. Dragon Lady City. The Dragon Lady Lord was dealing with more than 30,000 golden skeletons. She frowned slightly as she watched her 6 white silver-tier wyverns rampage through these golden skeletons. White silver-tier wyverns. They could already fight against a yellow gold-tier Scarlet Lord. It was not a problem to tie even though he could not kill them. Therefore, even though there were many of them, they could still rampage inside when facing these golden skeletons below the white silver tier. They could slaughter dozens of golden skells with a casual strike. But even so, due to the huge difference in numbers between the two sides, it still made the Dragon Lady tremble in fear. She was afraid that her 6 wyverns would be buried in these golden skeletons forever. These golden skeletons are comparable to beginner soldiers. More than 20,000 skeletons are comparable to beginner soldiers. Is it so difficult to advance to the diamond tier? The Dragon Lady Lord frowned. This was not the first time she had fallen in the qualifying competition to advance to the diamond tier. Every foreign race lord he encountered was quite powerful. This even made her want to give up. However, she was indignant. She was a lord with an epic tier lord talent after all. If this level of lord talent was placed on the best of the myriad races at this moment, they were probably all at the epic tier lord realm. In comparison, how could she be willing to not be able to advance to diamond tier? At this moment, waves of screams and howls came from the direction of Blazing Sun City. The Dragon Lady Lord looked over. In the end, he saw thousands of white ghosts fleeing in all directions. What happened? What are they afraid of? The Dragon Lady Lord looked at this scene in shock. This should not be the effect even if the enemy was afraid of the dragon might of a pure-blooded dragon. On the other side, the Green Phoenix Lord, who was controlling the Green Phoenix True Fire to burn the Black Knights, also noticed the situation in Blazing Sun City. As expected of a big shot, the Green Phoenix Lord's eyes flickered with golden light. The Dragon Lady Lord and her were both busy dealing with these undead who were not afraid of death. The Lord of the Blazing Sun was better. Even though he was dealing with the white ghosts that they found the most difficult to deal with, he managed to scare them away. She stopped thinking about it and continued to focus on dealing with these Black Knights. Even though there were only about 5,000 of these Black Knights, they were indeed intermediate-grade soldiers among the undead race. She was powerful, but even so, she did not dare to be distracted at this moment. Half an hour later, under the joint attack of Soul Reaper Maris and the other elemental soldiers, the 10,000 white ghosts were all destroyed. Not only did Jojo not suffer any casualties, Maris had dealt with more than half of the white ghosts and had directly advanced 2 levels from the white silver tier elementary grade to the white silver grade advanced grade. A moment later, Bai Yun came over to report the advancement of the soldiers. "I've something to report, my lord. A total of 2,024 soldiers just broke through. There are 554 of them who have broken through to the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Advanced Grade. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, 1,241 of them advanced from Black Iron Tier to Green Bronze Tier. Another 229 people have advanced to White Silver Tier. Most of these soldiers who broke through are Elemental Archers and Aurora Cavalry. The rest are the intermediate level soldiers," Bai Yun said. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then, he could not help but look at the Dragon Lady Lord and Green Phoenix Lord. At this moment, the Golden Skeletons and Black Knights were not foreign race enemies in his eyes. They were clearly walking advancement energy gift bags. "Do you need help?" He took the initiative to ask. "Yes," the Green Phoenix Lord immediately said while the Dragon Lady Lord was still hesitating. She had already eliminated more than 1,000 Black Knights alone. The results might be fruitful, but the energy in her body was about to be exhausted. She was naturally happy to accept the Lord of the Blazing Sun's help. When the Dragon Lady Lord heard the Green Phoenix Lord agree so quickly, she did not know whether to open her mouth or not. Even though she had already eliminated more than 5,000 golden skeletons, the stamina of her 6 wyverns was almost exhausted. Zhou ignored the Dragon Lady Lord, seeing that she did not react, and directly asked Nazario, Maris, and the Blazing Sun Army to leave the city to support the Green Phoenix Lord. When the 30,000 soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army appeared, the Dragon Lady Lord and the Green Phoenix Lord were shocked again. Especially when they realized that more than 1,000 of the 30,000 soldiers had reached the White Silver Tier. They were so shocked that they could not speak. At this stage, White Silver Tier existences could definitely be considered top combatants. A White Silver Tier combat strength would be extremely precious to a stronger lord. And the Lord of the Blazing Sun actually had more than 1,000 White Silver Tier combatants. Was this the true strength of the Lord of the Blazing Sun? A moment later, the more than 4,000 Black Knights that the Green Phoenix Lord faced were wiped out by the flood of population of the Blazing Sun Army. After that, they did not say much and went straight to Dragon Lady City to help her deal with the 10,000 golden skeletons. With Zhou help, these golden skeletons began to decrease at a visible speed, even though they were strong, and there were many of them. The scales of victory were already tilting in their favor. Thank you. The Dragon Lady Lord looked at Zhou with a complicated expression. Her wyverns would probably all die in the sea of golden skeletons if not for his help. Not to mention victory. It's okay. Face the foreign race's enemies first. Our conflict and competition naturally have to come later. Zhou did not care. He looked at the Dragon Lady Lord and could not help but praise her in his heart. This Dragon Lady Lord was indeed a Western superstar on the Cerulean planet. She was top-notch among the women on the Cerulean planet, be it her image or temperament. Of course, the Green Phoenix Lord standing at the side was not bad either. This girl who came from the same country as Zhou had an image and temperament that was not inferior to the Dragon Lady Lord after awakening the Green Phoenix immortal body. She even had an immortal aura on her that made people unable to help but pay attention to her. A moment later, a golden text notification appeared as the last golden skeleton fell. You and your teammates have defeated one Undead Lord, Black Knight Lord, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. 2. Undead Lord Aller Lord, White Platinum Advanced Rank. 3. Undead Lord, Golden Bone Lord, White Platinum Advanced Grade. Congratulations, you have obtained 1,875 battlefield points. Congratulations, you have advanced to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade in the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield. You have obtained a Diamond Tier title, Diamond Lord. Your fashion has upgraded. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise, your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. You can return to your territory. Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Zhou's expression was calm. The Dragon Lady and the Green Phoenix Lord, on the other hand, heaved a sigh of relief. They had finally advanced. The two women thought. Then, they could not help but look at Zhou. This advancement was really brought about by this Lord of the Blazing Sun. Was this the effect of a high-end leveling booster? Chapter 211: The Dragon God Lord and the Insect Lord's Backgrounds. Zhou looked at the gradually disappearing golden skeletons and felt a little emotional. These undead creatures were not good. They were not even as threatening as the white platinum tier griffins he had encountered last time. However, he also understood. It was not that these undead were weak, his strength had increased again. In addition, their abilities were extremely effective against these undead creatures. That was why it was easier to win than last time. Lord of the Blazing Sun, can I add you as a friend? At this moment, the Green Phoenix Lord looked at Zhou expectantly. How can I refuse since Fairy Green Phoenix has spoken? Zhou smiled. He still harbored good feelings towards his fellow countrymen. The Green Phoenix Lord blushed. She was not as high-profile as the Dragon Lady Lord, but she was a small-time upmaster when she was on the Cerulean planet. After coming to the High Continent, she liked to upload videos of her battle and post it on the exchange for free for the other lords to see. Then, she would sell the goods in her territory through this method. Even though her motive was not pure, it was understandable. It was to earn money. Many lords who liked her also expressed understanding and support for this. They also called her Fairy Green Phoenix. As time passed, more lords called her Fairy Green Phoenix. She didn't expect the Lord of the Blazing Sun to know. I thought he would not appear on the World Channel. The Green Phoenix Lord thought to herself. The Dragon Lady Lord beside her felt very angry when she saw this. Back then, she had put in so much effort to add Lord of the Blazing Sun as a friend, but he still rejected her in every way possible. In the end, she just asked and you agreed? What a lecherous fellow. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Zhou looked over. He saw the Dragon Lady Lord looking at him angrily. This puzzled him. What's wrong with this woman? Did I provoke her? You should encounter the Dragon God Lord, and the others next. Be careful. They're very powerful. The Dragon Lady Lord wanted to say that they were not weaker than him, However, when she thought about the thousands of white silver-tier soldiers under the Lord of the Blazing Sun, she retracted her thoughts. Have you ranked with the Dragon God Lord and the others? Zhou raised his eyebrows. Yes, once for both the Dragon God Lord and the Insect Lord. The Dragon Lady Lord's expression was a little ugly. Did you ask why they didn't appear on the World Channel? Zhou was most curious about this. The Dragon God Lord and the Insect Lord had never appeared on the World Channel. Therefore, the mysterious aura on the two of them was very strong. Zhou was a professional diver of the World Channel to begin with, so he was even more curious about this. I did. They are not on the high continent, but in the world near it. The Dragon God Lord said that he's in a place called the Elemental World. The Insect Lord said that he did not know where he was. He found himself on a deserted planet as soon as he descended. It's said that there's nothing on that planet except monsters. They also have a separate world channel where they are. It's not connected to the Cerulean Planet World Channel on our high continent, so they can't appear in our world channel. They are only in the same universe as us, during the previous Novice Lord test and this Lord Battlefield event. The Dragon Lady Lord said. Zhou and the Green Phoenix Lord were a little surprised. They were not in the high continent but in another world? Zhou suddenly thought of Jing Hongzi, the array master from the immortal world he had recruited yesterday. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Think since there were lords in other worlds, then would there be human lords or lords of other races in the immortal world? Zhou speculated that the possibility was very high. The Dragon God Lord and the Insect Lord also said that they really want to meet you, but they didn't know if there's a chance. I think they'll have a chance soon. The Dragon Lady suddenly smiled. She suddenly wanted to see what the two Cerulean Planet Lords, who were full of confidence, would think after seeing the powerful strength of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. That scene would definitely be interesting. I want to meet them too. Zhou smiled. He was naturally very interested in competing with a powerful lord of the same race. Is that Dragon God Lord related to the dragon race? Zhou asked again. The Dragon Lady Lord looked at Zhou and said expressionlessly, "Why should I tell you everything? We're adversaries now. We'll still be competitors after the event. What do you want?" Zhou raised his eyebrows. "I'll answer your question if you answer one of mine," the Dragon Lady Lord said. "Tell me about it first." Zhou acknowledged. "How did you develop so quickly?" The Dragon Lady frowned. This was the question she wanted to ask the most. This thought became even stronger, especially after seeing his Blazing Sun Army. In front of the 30,000 professionals of the Blazing Sun Army, even the pure-blooded dragon was no longer eye-catching. A white silver-tier pure-blooded dragon would be beaten to death when facing 30,000 professionals, especially since there were more than 1,000 white silver-tier professionals inside after all. She did not realize that Nazario was a yellow gold-tier elementary grade pure-blooded dragon and thought that it was a white silver-tier pure-blooded dragon. This was because she knew very well how difficult it was for the dragon race to advance in strength. If the advancement energy needed for ordinary professions to advance was compared to an experience bar, assuming that the experience required for ordinary professions to advance was 100. Then the experience required for her wyverns would be 1,000, while the experience required for a pure-blooded dragon to advance was 10,000. Pure-blooded dragons would find it more difficult to advance than wyverns. Among her 6 wyverns, the strongest winged demon dragon was only at the white silver-tier advanced grade. The dragon race of the Lord of the Blazing Sun would definitely not surpass the white silver-tier advanced grade. At most, it would be at the white silver intermediate grade. That was her guess. Zhou naturally did not know what the Dragon Lady Lord was thinking. After hearing her question, he thought for a moment and said seriously, "My current achievements are all because of my personal hard work." Dragon Lady Lord. The Green Phoenix Lord was also speechless. "Who would believe you, big brother?" Zhou did not think there was a problem. The Lord talent was not given to him by anyone. He had awakened it himself. "What's wrong with me saying that? Why are you looking at me like that? Is your lord talent at mythical tier? The dragon lady lord suddenly had a complicated expression. That's the second question,
Zhou said.
Then he thought for a moment and said frankly, not at first. It was after the novice lord test. The green phoenix lord's mouth fell agape as she looked at Zhou. The dragon lady lord looked at him with a complicated expression. It was really a mythical tier lord talent. She was silent for a moment, then exhaled. The dragon god lord is indeed related to the dragons. Chapter 212 Diamond Tier Lord. Battlefield Veterans. He has the ability to summon pure-blooded dragons. He had a bronze dragon and a golden dragon under his command when I teamed up with him yesterday. They're all pure-blooded dragons, not inferior tier dragon. And their strengths are at the white-silver tier intermediate grade. As for whether he has other pure-blooded dragons, I don't know. Nazario sneezed disdainfully at that. Zhou fell into deep thought. He really had the ability to summon pure-blooded dragons, and he already had two. However, if that was all, then he was not afraid at all. It was true that pure-blooded dragons were strong. However, they were not invincible, not to mention anything else. If the two pure-blooded dragons dared to charge into his 1,000 white silver tier professionals, with Nazario beside them to offset its dragon might, they would definitely die. The dragon lady lord looked at his thoughtful expression and fell silent for a few seconds before saying calmly, the dragon god lord and the insect lord are both ranked higher than me, but not much higher. If you still want to continue teaming up, you should be able to be matched with them. You should be fighting with them for the highest rank among our kind next. I won't be involved. Good luck. I'll get going first. With that, she prepared to leave. Aren't you going to continue ranking? Zhou was stunned. Why should I continue ranking? The dragon lady lord gritted her teeth. Should I be making a fool of my wyverns in front of both you and his pure-blooded dragons? With that, she, her wyvern, and dragon lady city all disappeared from the lord battlefield. Zhou could not help but be speechless when he heard her words. However, he did not say anything. As a bystander, the Green Phoenix Lord was clearly very happy. Not only did she get to know that Big Boss Blazing Sun was actually the owner of a mythical Lord talent, but from the Dragon Lady Lord's attitude, it was obvious that she had given in to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. This was big news. This was because the Dragon Lady Lord had never given in to the Lord of the Blazing Sun on the World Channel. Or rather, everyone knew that the Dragon Lady wanted to surpass the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Her words today actually had a faint hint of giving up. How could this not make her, a bystander, happy? Big Boss Blazing Sunday. Is Big Boss Dragon Lady Lord openly admitting that she's inferior to you? The Green Phoenix Lord looked at the Lord of the Blazing Sun with sparkling eyes. Zhou, your temperament as a bystander is a little too obvious. I'm not a big boss. Just call me Lord of the Blazing Sun. Dragon Lady Lord shouldn't mean that. Even though I haven't interacted much with her, I can feel that her ambition for the path to becoming an outstanding lord is not inferior to a man's. Maybe she thinks that her current wyverns might not be as good as mine, but she might find another way to defeat me. The Dragon Lady Lord is still the same Dragon Lady Lord as before, Zhou said. The Green Phoenix Lord nodded twice before looking at Zhou expectantly. Big Boss Blazing Sun, can I play doubles with you next? All right. However, I might have to play solo if the next ranking involves the competition for the strongest lord of our race. Zhou said. If they teamed up, they could obtain 3 times the battlefield points. He naturally would not refuse to form a team if it did not affect the competition for the strongest lord of the same race. Moreover, the Green Phoenix Lord was not weak either. Zhou was also willing to form a team with such a lord. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. When the Green Phoenix Lord heard Zhou's words, she hurriedly nodded. Then give me a moment. I'll team up with you later,
Zhou said.
The Green Phoenix Lord nodded. After the two of them added each other as friends, Zhou Zhou led his troops back to Blazing Sun City. He had just returned to the city. Bai Yun went forward and reporting to my lord. In the battle just now, a total of 15,295 soldiers broke through. Among them, 8,241 have been promoted to Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Advanced Grade. 6,049 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to the Green Bronze Tier. Another 1,005 people have advanced to the White Silver Tier. Our army has a total of 22,076 Black Iron Tier soldiers, 10,868 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 2,245 White Silver Tier soldiers. However, we also lost 642 soldiers in this battle. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. In just one group battle, he had slaughtered more than 30,000 foreign race enemies, increasing the strength of his Blazing Sun army by so much. Green Bronze Tier soldiers exceeded 10,000. The number of White Silver Tier soldiers had also increased from more than 1,000 to more than 2,001. It was not an exaggeration to say that his strength had doubled, but he knew that such an opportunity could only be chanced upon by luck. After all, enemies like the undead race, who were populous but not very strong individually, were not something that they would encounter in every ranking. Then he stopped thinking about it and took out the White Platinum Tier Resurrection token to revive the 642 soldiers who had died. Then he looked at the Resurrection token. As his Lord rank advanced to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, the upper limit of his Resurrection quota had increased from 10,000 to 50,010. After reviving 642 people, the resurrection quota changed from 6,124/50,000 to 6,766/50,000. Then he checked his Diamond Tier rank title and activity clothes. Title: Diamond Tier Lord. Title quality: Diamond Tier. Enhanceable. Title Effect 1. When fighting against the enemy forces of the Scarlet Fog, your subjects and you will obtain an additional 25% increase in strength. Title Effect 2. When fighting the A Myriad Race Lord, when the opponent's battlefield rank is White Platinum Tier, you and your subjects will obtain an additional 5% increase in strength. When the other party's battlefield rank is Yellow Gold Tier, you and your subjects will obtain an additional 10% increase in strength. When the other party's lord's battlefield rank is White Silver Tier, you and your subjects will obtain an additional 15% increase in strength. When the opponent's battlefield rank is Green Bronze Tier Lord, you and your subjects will receive an additional 20% increase in strength. When the other party's battlefield rank is Black Iron Tier Lord, you and your subjects will receive an additional 25% increase in strength. Title Effect 3. Same as before. Title Description: Same as before. Fashion Name: Battlefield Veteran Event Limited Fashion. Fashion Grade: Diamond Tier. Enhanceable. Fashion Feature 1. Reduces 20% of the wearer's Diamond Tier and below damage. Fashion Feature 2. Leave the battlefield. When your side is at a disadvantage in the Diamond Tier Lord battlefield ranking, and if you have a Diamond Territory Rebirth token, you have the right to choose to admit defeat and automatically withdraw from the Lord battlefield ranking. Fashion Feature 3. Same as before. Fashion Feature 4. Same as before. Current Fashion Outfit Completeness. May 5th. Introduction. Same as before, so it has become Battlefield Veteran now. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows and nodded. After that, they left the battlefield. Then, Zhou Zhou invited the Lord of the Green Phoenix to form a team. However, just as he clicked on the ranking, a notification suddenly appeared in front of him. Prompt: Diamond Tier and above Lords cannot form groups. Please upgrade your Lord rank in a solo manner. Zhou Zhou looked at the Green Phoenix Lord. The Green Phoenix Lord also looked at Zhou Zhou. The two of them were helpless. In the end, the Green Phoenix Lord bade farewell and left. Zhou Zhou began to rank himself. Chapter 213: The Battle to the Summit. a lord from the descendant of the god spirit race. In the next 2 hours, Zhou experienced 2 more Diamond Tier ranking battles. These 2 Diamond Tier opponents, one of them was the Lord of the Holy Unicorn race, while the other was the Lord of the Four-Armed Snake Demon race. These 2 foreign race lords were divided according to their bloodline levels. One was a race from the Heaven Realm with an extraordinary tier intermediate grade bloodline, while the other was a race from the Abyss with a Diamond Tier advanced grade bloodline. These 2 foreign race lords were very strong. Zhou paid a total of 11,242 resurrection spots to defeat them and obtain victory. These 2 victories not only raised his rank to Diamond Tier advanced grade. Moreover, every ranking competition gave him a total of 5,000 battlefield points. The 2 victorious ranking competitions gave him a full 10,000 battlefield points. Zhou finally understood. While the Lords of Diamond and above could only play solo, they could also obtain even more battlefield points that the team could obtain. Other than these 2 gains, when he was promoted to Diamond Tier advanced grade, a line of text that Zhou had been waiting for appeared. Lord Battlefield hint. You need another victory in the Myriad Race Lord Battlefield ranking competition to temporarily become the strongest lord among the Cerulean planet's human lords and temporarily obtain the title of the strongest lord. Zhou took a deep breath. I only need 1 more round? He did not hesitate and chose to rank. Matching with your ranking opponent. Match successful. Entering the battlefield. You have entered the Diamond Tier advanced grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the Diamond Tier advanced grade battlefield, Demigod Death Ruins. Your opponent is a Lord of the God Spirit's descendant race, Uncle Wine Lord, Diamond Tier advanced grade. Condition to defeat the enemy. Kill all the enemy forces within 24 hours. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown, 9 minutes, 59 seconds. A lord from the god spirit's descendant race? Zhou frowned slightly. This name did not sound like an easy race to deal with. The Index of All Races, Book 5, seemed to have sensed his thoughts. It automatically flew out and activated in front of Zhou.
Soon.
Information about the god spirit's descendant races index appeared. Descendant of the god spirit race. A descendant of a god spirit from the myriad worlds. He was born with magical power. His bloodline contains the power of the laws mastered by the god spirit. He will constantly awaken as he grows. However, he will still become a god spirit no matter whether he succeeds or fails. The descendant of the god spirit race can't walk the path to becoming a god spirit contained in their bloodline. They can only take another path to become a god spirit or kill the person who gives them their bloodline. However, the success rate is extremely low. In the end, most of them will only die at the legendary tier or lower. It's actually a descendant of a god spirit. I didn't expect to encounter it at such a critical moment. Zhou frowned slightly. However, he did not have time to think too much. He seized the opportunity to start deploying. After the deployment, he looked at his surroundings. In the furthest place from his blazing sun city was a city with a sky-blue ancient castle as the center. This was naturally the territory of the descendant of the god spirit race, Uncle Wind Lord. In the middle of the 2 cities was a battlefield covered in blood-colored smoke. On this battlefield, all kinds of corpses could be seen everywhere. The closest to Zhou was a huge head that was more than 20 meters tall. The head was pale and had 2 pitch-black eye sockets, but he could not see the eyeballs inside. It was as if it was staring at Zhou strangely. He did not have a nose, but had a lipless mouth. It emitted an inexplicable might and suppression. Zhou had once vaguely felt this might and suppression in the Temple of Thanatos, the god of death. However, it was far less powerful and oppressive than the death god Thanatos. Demigod Ruins of Death. Could it be that the owner of this head was once a demigod? He guessed as he looked at the other parts of the battlefield. He discovered that there were many corpses that were suspected to be demigods. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, they seemed to be charging in one direction, but in the end, they were all killed halfway. I wonder who killed him. It should be a god spirit to be able to kill so many demigods. Then, his expression changed slightly. There are so many demigod corpses on the battlefield. Would it give the descendant of the god spirit race on the other side an additional battlefield advantage? That was not good news for him, if that was indeed the case. Zhou frowned slightly. This was how random battlefields were. The lords of the ranking would never know if the environment of the next lord battlefield was beneficial to them or not. For example, he had once encountered a fire elemental creature called the fire cloud bird. At that time, he and the other party were randomly sent to a snow battlefield. In the end, the fire cloud bird's fire elemental ability was mostly suppressed by the environment in the lord battlefield, and he obtained victory with ease. Zhou naturally could not do anything about the current situation. He could only choose to accept it. At the same time, Uncle Wind City, a two-headed four-armed creature surrounded by green airflow, floated above the Azure Castle and looked at the Lord's battlefield in surprise. What a rich, ownerless divine power! Unfortunately, the essence of divine power has already fallen and decayed because too much time has passed. Otherwise, it would be a top-grade cultivation place for me. He shook his head regretfully. A smile appeared on his face. But my advantage in this battlefield is simply too great. With so much ownerless divine power, my strength can increase by at least 10 times. It's really rare for a human lord to fight until this stage. What a pity. 10 minutes later. Deployment time has ended. The battle has begun. Everyone, guard Blazing Sun City. Well, mainly defend the city in this battle. Wuxia had already obtained information about the opposite lord's race from Zhou. After discussion, he decisively chose to defend the city. Then Zhou and the others saw that the other party was actually guarding the city and not coming out. The battlefield advantage for them is so great, but this Uncle Wind Lord is actually so cautious. Bai Yun felt a little helpless. Let's not be anxious. They have a huge advantage. It won't do them any good to drag it out, Wuxia said in a deep voice. Bai Yun nodded. Zhou naturally had no objections. That was indeed the case. A moment later, they saw Uncle Wind Lord walk out of the city gate with more than 1,000 wind elemental creatures that looked like tornadoes. Zhou looked at the leader, Uncle Wind Lord. Soon, attribute information appeared. Foreign race name, descendant of the god spirit race, Uncle Wine Lord, strength level, white silver tier intermediate grade, sealed. Foreign race description, a lord of the descendant of the god spirit race from the elemental realm. The god spirit bloodline flowing in his body comes from the god of wind erosion, Jobel, intermediate grade god spirit. As the 6th generation of the god of wind erosion, he is favored by his ancestors because of his talents. Uncle Wind Lord's original strength was at the diamond tier elementary grade. After becoming a lord, his strength was sealed to the black iron tier advanced grade. Now, as his strength increases, part of the seal has been lifted, and his strength has returned to the white silver tier intermediate grade. Loot's drop rate, none. Chapter 214 First Loss. The strongest lord, time limit. So the Supreme chose to temporarily seal the strength of lords who already had a certain level of strength and gradually unseal them to recover their strength. This is quite fair for races like us who do not have such strengths. Zhou thought in surprise when he saw the last paragraph of the other party's introduction. It made sense. If they did not seal their original strength and allowed someone with the strength of a complete god spirit became a lord, then what was the point of competing with the lords of other ordinary races? They would just become pacers. Moreover, sealing these lords who already had a certain level of strength allowed the lords to stand on the same starting line again, at least in terms of strength. As for experience, combat awareness, and so on, it was accumulation of personal ability. There was no need to seal it. Then, Zhou looked at the wind elemental creatures brought by Uncle Wind Lord. He realized that they were all high-level military professionals called the Wind Erosion Spirit. On the battlefield, just as Uncle Wind Lord brought the Wind Erosion Spirits and quickly arrived within the range of the elemental archers, he suddenly stopped. He looked at the elemental archers and other long-range soldiers on the city wall of Blazing Sun City with surprise. Finally, he looked at Zhou from afar. "You're the strongest human lord among all that I've met, and you seem to be quite extraordinary yourself,"
he said softly.
Zhou looked at him and did not say anything. Then he suddenly said, "Wind." A green wind surged. Then it quickly turned into a strong wind, violent wind, gale. The 1,000 wind erosion spirits behind him also chanted an incantation. Even fiercer and more violent wind blew. Extremely sharp wind blades mixed in, and there were more and more of them. After they condensed successfully, they shot towards the soldiers on the city wall of Blazing Sun City. "Sword shield soldiers, defend," Bai Yin shouted. As soon as she finished speaking, all the sword shield soldiers stepped forward and placed their shields at the front of the other soldiers. They then erected a shield wall and covered all the soldiers under it. Not only that, the soldiers under the shield wall even used defensive skills like sandification and rock armor to increase their defense. These skills were naturally not their professional skills, they were monster drop skills that the soldiers had exchanged for with military merits from the military merit exchange system. With the military merit exchange system and the Monster Ranch as support, the abilities of the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Corps were already varied and comprehensive. They were not something ordinary soldiers could compare to. After Zhou saw that he had blocked this round of attacks, he immediately ordered Maris, which was already a white silver-tier advanced grade Soul Reaper, to harvest the souls of these enemies. Under the city wall, Uncle Wind Lord could not help but be surprised when he saw that his first round of attacks did not cause much casualties to the other party. He had just created more than 10,000 gale blades in that strong wind. He did not expect it to be so ineffective. A human lord who can reach the diamond tier is indeed not simple. If not for the advantage of the battlefield environment, I might really not be able to defeat you. Uncle Wind Lord shook his head. He was about to drive the ownerless divine power that filled the battlefield. At this moment, an extremely dangerous feeling suddenly appeared in his mind. Uncle Wind Lord's body stiffened. The next second, he saw a dog-headed soul holding a black and red death god's scythe flying straight at him from afar. Uncle Wind Lord's pupils constricted. He had never encountered a soul reaper. But, at this moment, his intuition from his bloodline made him feel that he definitely could not defeat the other party. He turned around and wanted to run. But Maris was faster. He quickly arrived in front of Uncle Wind Lord and waved his sickle, without hesitation, slashing at his neck.
Bang!
A divine pattern formed by wind erosion divine power quietly lit up on Lord Wind Uncle's body. Maris' death god scythe was actually blocked by the divine patterns. The divine power protection given to me by Father has been activated. It's only triggered to protect me when I'm about to die. Wouldn't I be dead if not for it? Uncle Wind Lord was shocked. Then, he felt extremely regretful. He still had the territory rebirth token. This divine power protection could have been reserved in reality to protect his life. He did not expect it to be used in a place like the Lord battlefield. At this moment, he felt that he might as well be dead. His expression was a little ugly as he looked at Maris in front of him with some fear. Then he suddenly waved his hand. Descendant of the god's spirit bloodline skill, soul corrosion divine wind.
Whoosh!
A pale white wind suddenly blew. This pale white wind was mixed with the divine power of the god of wind erosion. Even though Maris was a white silver-tier advanced grade, he was still blown more than a mile away by the soul corrosion divine wind that contained divine power. Zhou immediately asked after Maris. He heaved a sigh of relief when he learned that Maris was unharmed. As expected of a divine kingdom-tier soldier who regarded souls as slaves, he was actually not injured at all facing such a soul-type attack with divine power. Then he looked at Uncle Wind Lord. The Lord raised his hands again. Wind, gale, He called out loudly.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Whoosh. More soul corrosion divine wind appeared. They covered the sky like a white world-destroying storm. The next second, this world-destroying storm tilted towards blazing Sun City. Zhou did not even have time to use the characteristics of the battlefield veterans, leaving the battlefield before he was devoured in the soul corrosion divine wind formed by divine power. Seeing this scene, Uncle Wind Lord, who was controlling the soul corrosion divine wind, was stunned. How many demigods have died in this ruins of death? Why are there so many ownerless divine powers left behind? Uncle Wind Lord clicked his tongue. He glanced at the slowly disappearing blazing Sun City, but he did not feel happy. Even though he had won this qualifying competition, it made him lose one protection by divine power. There was a limit to the number of times he could be protected by divine power. Those were his life-saving trump cards in the Lord competition in reality. In the end, he lost it in one diamond tier Lord ranking. It would be strange if he was happy. Lord Feng shook his head. Then, he disappeared from the battlefield with the wind erosion spirit and his city. I lost. In blazing Sun City, Zhou looked at the territory resurrection token that was already missing from his spatial ring and frowned slightly. Then he quickly relaxed. It was good that he had lost. He had been winning since he was a black iron tier elementary grade. Even though he had always reminded himself that this was because he had not encountered a powerful foreign race lord, he had actually been feeling a little smug. He was not the only one. Even the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army under his command by Yun and the experienced and prudent Wuxia had become a little arrogant. This was a competition between all the foreign race lords of the myriad races. They had actually been winning as human lords. It would be strange if they didn't become arrogant under such circumstances. And this lost ranking had destroyed their smug state. At this moment, Zhou straightened his mentality. He looked at Bai Yun and the others. Bai Yun was still a little dazed and low. It was as if she had yet to recover from their failure. Wuxia had already adjusted his mentality and frowned slightly as he looked at the situation of the Blazing Sun soldiers. At this moment, the situation of the Blazing Sun soldiers was similar to Bai Yun's. They had yet to recover from their first defeat. Then they looked at Zhou. My lord, they need to adjust their mentality now. Elder Wu, you're a professional at this. Adjust their mentalities. They've become like this with only one defeat. How can they face stronger foreign race lords in the future?
Zhou said solemnly.
Leave it to me, my lord. Wuxia nodded. Then he went to the soldiers. Zhou was not worried. Elder Wu was a big general. He naturally knew how to resolve this situation. That was indeed the case. Half an hour later, when the Blazing Sun Army appeared in front of Zhou again, he realized that not only had these soldiers regained their previous fighting spirit, they also had an additional calm and tenacious temperament. Zhou nodded. Very good. Very energetic. Everyone, the blazing sun is never worshipped by the world for a short period of time. The constant rising and setting of the sun, the eternal emitting of light, illuminating the world, is the reason why the blazing sun is worshipped. A moment of failure is nothing. It can pave the way for a better victory. Isn't it just one loss? We can win it back better next time. Zhou looked at everyone and said in a low voice, Follow me to the Lord battlefield again. Yes. The soldiers' eyes were burning with fighting spirit. Bai Yun and Wuxia looked at Zhou with light in their eyes. More than an hour later, Diamond Tier Lord Battlefield, Snow Wind Sacred Mountain. A text notification appeared in front of Zhou as the last Storm Warbear fell. You have defeated the Storm Warbear Lord, Lord Bet, Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. You have won this ranking competition. Congratulations, your Lord rank in the Lord Battlefield of all races has advanced to Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. Congratulations, you have successfully reached the top of the Cerulean Planet's human lords and obtained the title of the Strongest Lord, limited time. You need to maintain this title until the Lord Battlefield event ends. Only then can you obtain this title permanently. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every day. Otherwise, your rank will decrease by -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. You can return to your territory now. Zhou looked at the soldiers cheering for victory and smiled. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.